Let's do this. Get ready for the Dirt Life Show.
What is up? Happy Monday, everybody. We hope you guys had a good weekend. Man, we are on episode 56 of the Dirt Life Show. I cannot believe it. It's pretty cool, though, man. We're just trucking along with all these episodes, and it just keeps getting better and better. We're learning every time, and we're having some serious fun with it. So I'd like to welcome my buddy Joe Weining into the studio. What's up, Joe?
All good, buddy. How you been?
Oh, we had some tacos, so I'm pretty much tuned up now.
Yeah, can't pass that up.
I know, right? We found a good local taco shop. So it doesn't have anything to do with the dirt life, but if you find a good taco shop, man, it makes life better.
Amen to that.
So
it does.
I really appreciate you coming in the studio, man. It's awesome to have you here. So one of the reasons we had you in the studio is because our featured guest tonight is somebody that you've worked with a couple times. His name is Austin Jones, son of Jesse Jones.
Yeah, no, Austin and I have done quite a bit of desert racing together and stuff, and I worked for his father, Jesse, for about 9 years.
Yeah.
And just kind of know the whole family, and we all raced together and pre-ran together and lived life in the dirt.
We call that living your dirt life, right?
You got it.
I think that's really cool. First of all, if you haven't checked out Joe's show, he had a show. I forgot which episode it was, but you can go back through our archives and look. Joe's got a pretty big repertoire of accomplishments. He's been working with some of the best drivers, in the dirt. He's worked for Bryce Menzies, just recently B.J. Baldwin, Jesse Jones, Austin Jones, Toby Price. I mean, the list goes on and on. So one of the things that we were talking about before the show that Joe did was he was a little bit of a nudge getting me into short course racing because he invited me to go check out a short course race at Wild Horse Pass one time when he was wrenching for Jeff Ward at the time, I think.
Yep, Speed Technology, Jeff Ward, yeah.
Yeah, so that was good times, man. We were talking about how insane those Lucas Oil races used to be.
Man, they used to be just off the hook.
Well,
so many people, you know what I mean? And it was just huge amounts of TV coverage, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
When you think about living the dirt life as we have all of our lives, starting racing dirt bikes and stuff like that, like when we grew up, Ricky Johnson and Jeff Ward were a little bit ahead of our time, like for professional riders.
Correct.
But we grew up as little kids looking up to them, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you get the opportunity, like you have a job, you can work for an off-road team, and then you get to work with a guy like Jeff Ward. I mean,
yeah, no, it was really cool. I can remember Wardy and I were in staging one day, and it was Wardy, Ricky Johnson, and Deegan. We were all racing Pro 2, and we're all just sitting there talking together. And I looked up to these kids all my life. Mm-hmm. You know, it was really cool.
When do you get an opportunity to do that? Like at a supercross or motocross race, you got to sit in the stands. Like you're at the off-road races, hanging out with everybody. That's so cool.
No, that's they say with age comes a cage, I guess.
Yeah, which is true. But I think it's actually coming a lot younger these days.
It is.
With the invent of side-by-sides, which is going to be one of our subjects that we talk about tonight a little.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the side-by-side industry is just taken off, and it's awesome. It's it's a good, safe sport to be in, and
I definitely think so too. Hold that thought though, because I want to ask you what you've been doing lately, and because you said you've been doing a lot more side-by-side stuff. But let's do our intro for the sponsors and stuff real quick. So first of all, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We really, really appreciate it. I can't say it enough on every single show how much we appreciate you guys chiming in. So please interact with us. Go on Facebook, go on YouTube, go to our social media channels, and hang out on the show. I know a lot of you guys have been liking to listen to this on iTunes. I think it's probably because you're driving or you're doing some more fun stuff during these unprecedented times that we're having in the United States. But please just visit us as much as you can and interact with us because you are our lifeblood. We love hanging out and talking to you guys, so join us anytime. And we definitely want to hear your guys' questions. One of the questions that we have for Austin Jones tonight is whether he likes UTVs or trophy trucks better, because it's a really good question when you have racing underneath your belt. You can do trophy trucks out in the desert in Baja, or you can maybe even do UTVs out in Dakar or those rally raids and stuff like that. So we want you guys to join in and ask questions and hang out with us. If you do end up wanting to listen to it in the archives, you can always listen on YouTube, Facebook, and go through iTunes. We're on all the networks, Spotify, all those bad boys. So feel free to listen to us anytime. Let us know what you guys think we can do better. And you can always hit us up at The Dirt Life Show on social media. And you can connect with our guests, like our co-host Joe Weining here, and featured guest Austin Jones tonight, and all of our other guests that we have on the show, because we link directly in our social media. So you can hang out with them and like and friend them as well. So we want to thank all of our sponsors for the show. Man, Shock Therapy has been stepping up so big lately. They've been helping with the Project RS1, that we call it Project Winning at Life build for me to go back to UTV World Championship. So I can't thank Justin and Shock Therapy enough for being just such a good partner to have for the show and just for life in general. So you can use the code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com, or you can give them a buzz over there. Call our buddy James and ask him if he can hook you up with a way more cushy suspension. I know that, man, I took this RS1 that they just tuned up out, and we're going to go test it on Thursday, I think it is, out at Geyser Loop. Man, that thing is nice. I've never felt suspension like that in my life.
Dude, it's incredible what suspension can do. It'll blow you away.
You know what it really reminded me of was when we used to race dirt bikes, and you could get, like, Eric Anderson, one of the guys that we grew up with, had A-kit suspension on his Honda. That was like the highest you could buy suspension before factory. That's what this felt like compared to what I'm used to.
Yeah, no, it completely changes the whole car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just, it's amazing.
But when you don't know, you don't know, right? Like,
Correct.
and I didn't know, and then I got in this thing, and I was like, oh my God, it's like riding on a pillow.
Yeah. What have I been doing all this time?
Yeah. Like, why am I going through bumps like half throttle, and I could just pound them?
Yep.
So thank you very much to the guys at KMC Wheels. Again, they stepped up big. Next to Joe over here, we have a Grenade KMC wheel. I think it's got a 5.2 offset, it looks like, with a 30-inch EFX tire on it. Man, that thing looks like it's going to get some serious traction out in the desert. So thank you to the guys at KMC Wheels and EFX Tires for jumping on board the show, and obviously for the project that they're helping with this RS1 that we're building. Thank you very much to the Zollinger Racing guys. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at ZollingerRacingProducts.com and save a whole bunch of money. We're going to have a video for some installation of some parts that I did on this RS1, and it's just crazy to me to see the growth of all of the new products in the side-by-side industry, because we mounted some tie rods on there, and usually to mount the tie rods, you have a clevis and you have a bolt that goes into the steering rack, and then you have a bolt that goes through for the Heim joint. And we always ended up using a crap load of red Loctite because those things come loose all the time. And well, Travis has solved that, because now he has a Torx bolt, and on the head of the bolt, the side has a channel in it, and then it's got a lock screw that comes through the clevis.
Nice.
And so you can lock it all together. I mean, like, and it's all hardened metal, and it almost looks like a Kashima coating on it. It's so freaking nice looking.
Cool.
But it's badass to see those things and to see the side-by-side industry growing so much.
I was just tinkering on the internet the other night, and I had come across Zollinger Products, their website, and I browsed around a little bit, and they got some nice stuff.
Dude, they do. So in the studio here, we have it looks like a side case for I think it's a Can-Am. I don't know if it's like a transmission side. Yeah, because it's got an input shaft right there. So it looks like some sort of transmission side case, but they machined that whole thing out of, I think it's 7075.
Yeah, no, it's a solid piece of tool machine. That's awesome.
Sweet, though, right? So it's next level to see all the cool UTV stuff, and that's one of the reasons that I'm so interested in continuing this RS1 build. We're calling it Project Winning at Life, but it's RS1 that my buddy Craig Scanlon just let us use out of his garage, and he said, do whatever you want, man, race the UTV World Championship. And so our goal was to build it up as an entry-level UTV, and well, entry-level is a vague word in racing, right? So
yes.
with the budget's already pretty high, but it really is entry level, and it's so cool to see it coming together and all the support that we're getting from the industry, and just to see all these new products. And I really want everybody to keep following along. I mean, we just launched a video on Friday, and man, it's gotten a lot of views and a lot of comments and stuff. So it's cool to see that everybody's interested in that. And I really hope that videos like this, and obviously campaigns like this, help grow the UTV market, because we need more people out there racing, man.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you to the guys at Rugged Radios, who's also in the RS1 build. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at Rugged Radios, save a whole bunch of money. And thank you to the guys at Solderweld. We're going to have an off-road repair kit on our car at the UTV World Championship. So solderweld.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to save a whole bunch of money over there. So one of the subjects that we wanted to talk about, well, actually we only got a couple minutes, but I was going to ask you, first of all, how the UTV stuff has been going for you, because you've been working on UTVs a lot lately, right?
Yes, I've been on my own. Started my own company called JTech Motorsports.
Yeah, right on your shirt right there.
And been doing a lot of side-by-side stuff as far as shock tuning and a couple roof racks and roll cages and things of that sort, you know what I mean? And
how does it differ from because you're used to working at, we're going to call it the top level. I know you're humble and you're probably going to not say that it wasn't the top, but it was the top level in off-road racing and short course racing. When you bring it back a little bit to the grassroots stuff, when you build a play car, you build a side-by-side race car, like what do you take, like all of the knowledge and just put it into that?
Yeah, because, you know, like in any motorsport, you got to be thorough. You know what I mean? And I just kind of, like you said,
cross your T's, dot your I's.
Exactly. Top level motorsports, you know what I mean? And in anything, you don't have a second chance. So it's got to be right out of the gate.
That's a super good point to bring up, actually.
And yeah, you just put your heart into it and make sure that, you know, it's good. That way the customer can go have fun. No, it ain't fun sitting on the side of the trail.
Yeah, exactly. So when they get out there with their new suspension, shocks, whatever it is, that they're like, oh, man, this is perfect. And they just go out, have a good time, eat some sandwiches, drink some ice-cold beverages, and come
Correct.
back.
And they enjoy it more, and their children enjoy it, and their wives enjoy it. You know what I mean? And I've had a couple people call me, and it's like, man, it's just, what a difference. Just like you said.
Yeah.
They had no idea
it could be that good.
It could be this good. You know what I mean? So it's been actually fun.
Actually,
really
let me ask you this then. Did you think it could be this good when the Rhinos first came out?
Not even close.
Do you remember riding the first Rhino or the first like Razor 800 going like, well, it's okay?
Yeah, no, it's it's changed so much and it's evolved, you know what I mean? And
well, what vehicle are you driving nowadays?
It's a 2020 Polaris Turbo S.
Oh, cool.
It's a 4-seater for the wife and the kids and I.
Still got some juice when you have everybody in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
nice.
No, love it. And that's kind of been my test bed. I've had the shocks apart on that more times than I can count.
Yeah, that's super cool.
It's learning, and I'm learning on it. And you know, my main thing, I don't want to beat up the wife, and I don't want to beat up the kids. You know what I mean? And I don't want them to get shaken up. And
that's exactly the reason why Justin at Shock Therapy started the company, is because his wife broke her back, and he wanted to make it nice and cushy for her.
Yeah.
So.
No, and it just makes it enjoyable for the family. You know what I mean? And at the same time, I've gotten pretty decent at it to where if you do want to go hard, you can go hard, and it'll still take it.
So
you know what I mean?
If somebody wants to go have a couple beers and then send it, they could just stiffen up the clicker.
You got it. You got it.
So we had John. I can't see his last name there, but John chimed in and said Shock Therapy really woke up his Turbo S. Should have done it sooner. Yeah, and that's what a bunch of people have been saying. Like, I'm sure you get the same comments too. Man, I should have talked to you sooner, Joe.
Yep. Yeah, no, I've had a couple of people out of Phoenix. They're like, my gosh, should have done this a year ago.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's just part of learning.
But it's still cool to see, though, like, because you can go, and we talked about this a little bit while we were eating tacos today, you can go down to the dealership and buy a dialed side-by-side and not have to do anything to it and just go have fun and get used to it.
Correct.
It's super, super cool, man. So we got a couple people that are going to call into the show today, one in a couple minutes here. Zach from Side-by-Side Guys. We're going to talk about this, actually, talk about the side-by-side industry and stuff, and kind of just get a feel for everything that's going on and get a gauge of everything. And then a little bit later in the show, maybe around 6:45 or something, we're going to have Tanner Carew call in. He's a NFL long snapper, and he's really into motorsports and stuff. Grew up in Southern California, and we're going to talk to him about doing some rides way out in, like, dual sport rides and having some fun, man. It'll be cool. So I think we got Zach on the phone now. What's up, Zach?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Hey.
How's the weather down south?
It's a little bit warmer than where you're at. So, Zach, I don't know if you've met my co-host for tonight, Joe Weining.
Zach, nice to meet you.
Joe, nice to meet you. Was just poking at your Facebook page there a second ago. Saw that razor you mentioned.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so it's nice to have somebody that's so experienced in the off-road world sitting next to me, and obviously on a FaceTime call as well. So Zach has actually started his own, it's a podcast and show, and it's called Side by Side Guys, and he has a partner that he does it with. Who'd you say was Ian from Full Throttle Battery?
Yeah, so we started a podcast late last year called the Side by Side Guys Off-Road Podcast to complement the social media and other things that we were doing with the brand, and brought my buddy Ian from Full Throttle Battery on board, and me and him interview guests and personalities and talk topics and things like that come across the industry. So it's been a great time.
Dude, Joe, you got to check it out, man. Some of the stuff that they talk about is way more in depth than anything we get into. We're just like campfire talk over here, and they're like really getting down and dirty, man. The doctors of side by sides. It's cool. Awesome, man. So
yeah, it's a good time.
Zach, I wanted to make sure that everybody go check out his stuff. So it's at Side by Side Guys, SXS Guys, on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, and you can search for them on iTunes and obviously YouTube as well, and go check out their stuff. They've got some really cool content coming up. You were telling me a little bit about it earlier, Zach, but maybe you could let our audience members know.
Yeah, so this last year we've been really involved with working in the experiential stuff that comes with UTV. We really want to communicate some of the adventure that you can have in a side-by-side. And so this year we kind of made a bucket list item to conquer a couple trails called BDRs. These are backcountry discovery routes, and they originally started off as an adventure bike type program where these guys that love their adventure bikes, they set up these connected trail systems throughout the states. And so they have dedicated trails for each state, and they go border to border. And so this last end of July, we headed out and conquered the Washington trail system. So we did the north-south run from Canada to Oregon. That trip was a little bit more of a test run for the next trip we did in Idaho, which we just completed a few weeks ago. And that was a 1,500-mile trip from Mountain Home, Idaho to Yarbridge, Nevada, and then up to the Canadian border. So,
dude, that sounds like something we'd be into, huh?
Yeah, that does sound like a good time.
Yeah, and so we had some guys come up from Southern California, Arizona area. We had some guys from across the state up here in Washington and in Idaho, and we conquered that bad boy, and it was a 8-day adventure that was pretty crazy. And I'm actually in the process of finishing the last couple hours of editing on that podcast where we bring all those guys on board. And that trip is also going to turn into a number of different episodes on MAV TV and Gears, Rocks, and Wrenches TV shows. So we'll be able to check out all that good content outside of what we're going to be producing on our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see that on TV as well.
So one of the things that I was going to ask you, Joe, what's the longest, we'll call it off-road ride or trip you've been on? 8 days is a long time, bro.
8 days is long. I was going to ask you on that. The longest...
Dude, because I've only been like a dune trip where we're glamping for like 4 days, and I'm still beat.
And just to be clear, this is about like actually running everything off the rig. This is overlanding to its purest, where everything is packed on your rig. You're not stopping at a hotel. You're not stopping. The only things that you're stopping for are gas breaks and different, situations like that. So
that was my question I had for you. That sounds like a good time.
It really does, right?
Yeah. No, I think the longest trip I've done is we've raced the Nora, the Mexican 1000.
That one looks cool.
Last 2 years, and it's a 6-day deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you're not fully out in the desert.
No, not at all. No, we're in hotels, and I think one night we stay on a trailer.
Yeah.
In tents on a flatbed trailer, but that's it.
So we had John chimed in too. Hang on to that for a second, Zach. And he said, we're talking about shock therapy, and he had Steve will dance in your car. That's extra, though. They charge extra for that.
Yeah.
So if you want Steve to dance in your car, you're going to have to put money in his pocket.
Saw that dance. It was pretty good.
Yeah. So those guys at Shock Therapy are awesome dudes, man. We really appreciate all the help that they're giving us. So, well, let's go back to the ride then. We're going to talk a little bit about entry-level UTV stuff. Like, UTVs are growing so far. I mean, all the new vehicles that are coming out and all this crazy stuff, right? But let's take a step back real quick. Like, you're talking about going on an 8-day adventure. You don't need 400 horsepower out of a freaking turbo UTV to go do that. You only need to be able to get up these certain areas and be able to camp out. So how is it like when you guys go do this stuff? Anybody bring whatever vehicle they want? Like, how does it go?
Yeah, so we had a lot of guys have various different scenarios on their rigs. So I went out with a Polaris XP Turbo 16. And then we had an X3, a 2018 RC. We had 2 guys in X3 Maxes. We had Cooper, who had brought out a fully built monster of an X3 that could have been down in the desert with you guys. And then we had a 2015 XP 1000, and then eventually a Honda Talon. It was a whole assortment of cars, and one of the things that we talk about on our podcast that's going to be coming out is the fact that the big horsepower cars really never got anywhere into the throttle. They never even really got into their turbos, because in this kind of riding, there's very few stretches where you can actually get above 5,000 RPM. Like your average speed on trail is anywhere between 15 to 25 miles an hour.
So that's exactly
if you
what
average out.
One of the topics that I wanted to bring up is when we were talking about the, you can still buy normally aspirated cars, but there's so many good normally aspirated cars. A Razor 1000 to me, like, and I was talking about this with Jeff Furrier from UPR.com today. A Razor 1000 with no turbo, normally aspirated, 2015, 2018, whatever year you want. I, as a racer, could never drive that car as fast as it could possibly go. Mm-hmm. No way. There's no way I could max out that car. So I wanted to know, like, why are people buying all these crazy horsepower side-by-sides if we don't really need it, like what you just said, Zach?
You know, there's a lot of guys that are in areas where they go dune riding or they go to ORV parks where there is a lot of benefit from having instant throttle response of spooling up that turbo and getting into it. There's an unknown. There's a misconception in the industry that the Razors and the X3s and everything are selling like hotcakes. That there's just millions and millions of these things being sold. And when reality is that, you know, the utility vehicles outsell these things 5 to 10 to 1. So, you know, the misconception is that everybody is buying these, but the problem is that we're all just so focused on social media. That's all we see, all the people showing off their cars.
Yeah, especially us in the Southwest, man. Like we can't get enough of the dunes and all this other crap, you know.
Yeah, no.
But yeah,
you don't typically see the guy out in the backwoods on Instagram posting a selfie with his machine, you know, when typically in the desert or in the dunes or whatever. Those are the guys that are typically posting. So that's all we really see.
What are you saying, dude? All those Southwest guys are show-offs?
I'm saying there's a lot of egos. You know, we gotta spread.
We gotta share it with everybody, right? All the time. But yeah, no, you're right though, because I went on a bicycle ride with Craig Scanlon a month ago or so, and I've told a few of our audience members this, but he said the same thing. Like it's 10 to 1 for, you know, we'll call it farm equipment or utility vehicles compared to the stuff that we do down here in the Southwest, like Duners and stuff have. Yeah,
the recreational vehicle market is you know, one of the biggest exploding markets in the side-by-side industry. It used to be that the pure utility vehicles, the Rangers, the Defenders, those types of cars were the big sellers. And now what we're seeing is a lot of crossover to where the Generals and now the new RMAX 1000 and all those cars are going to be the big hot tickets because they kind of meet all the needs of the guys that are investing their money, because most of us aren't just cash rolling these things. A lot of us are financing them. And so you're really kind of trying to look for the best coverage of all your needs with your vehicle investment.
Yeah, what's the best well-rounded one? So we had a question come in that said, is there any issue with trail width on the on rides with bigger cars? And I guess it just depends on what trail you're going to go on. But I think for the most part,
depends on where you're. Yeah, it depends on which side of the country you're on.
If you're on the East Coast, there's almost never an issue. But yeah.
Yeah, up here in the Northwest where we're at, you know, the only trails that you're limited on are the ones that you're not supposed to be on in the first place. So, you know, the single track dirt bike guys, they have a problem when you bypass those posts. Yeah. And but for the most part, we don't have a problem up here. It's the East Coast guys that are having to ride private property and have, you know, with restrictions that have a big problem with it.
The crazy part about it is, though, too, is that like as we get older, like I see some of those, like actually Justin from Shock Therapy, bring him up again. He built a 4-seater Ranger, and it's fully enclosed.
Air conditioning.
Dude, it's dialed. Like, I'm like, well, maybe I should rethink all this. Like, I should just get the old guy one, man, because it looks comfy. It looks really nice.
I've got a buddy in Buckeye that has one, and it's pretty cool.
Can you still rip?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you did some work to it, you could get after it, you know what I mean, and have fun with it, but it's a farm vehicle for him, you know.
Yeah, when you're thinking about the trail that we just did, and we did 1,500 miles, we were doing 1,500 miles of eating silt. And so having an enclosure like that with the HVAC system and all that, and we were on like 100-degree+ days too up here in the Northwest. So, you know, it having a fully enclosed car is really appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you provide any kind of support, any kind of chase on your rides, like 1,500 miles?
That's a long way.
Yeah, so that's part of the adventure, right? Is how do you plan for all this? And you know, if I was going to say the average person wanting to go on an adventure ride like this, I'd say, yeah, taking a support car with you that's going to meet you somewhere along the way and make sure everything's good. We were fully capable and packed to handle almost any situation on the ride.
Cool.
We go over a lot of that in the content that's coming out here soon, but we had everything from broken axles to one of the X3s blew its rings out. One of the X3s had bad gas and had fouled plugs. Like, there's just a whole different bunch of situations you just got to plan for. And when you're planning for that many situations, you have to really kind of thin out the tool set and the capability of your rig, because you can't carry everything. Yeah. So you really kind of have to start then sharing the load with other cars that have similar parts and things like that. And so there's a lot of logistics that go into an adventure like we went through.
I think the backup plan is just have a good insurance that you can have a good catastrophic failure, and then you're good to go. You just get a ride with your buddy. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one of the most important pieces of equipment we took with us was an inReach GPS communication device.
Yep.
Operated on the Iridium satellite system, and we were able to send text messages out as needed, even though we had no cell service. And, you know, there's one car, the 15 XP1000 blew, I want to say four to six belts on that trip. Oof. And so there was the spare that came with it, and then we had to get two more, and then we had to get two more. So, like, it was those types of situations really come, you know, they kind of show you where your weaknesses are if you're not prepared.
That actually brings up a good point, though, because we're going to talk to our buddy Tanner Carew in a little bit here. He's, I mentioned earlier on the show, he's an NFL long snapper, and he's super into off-roading and stuff like that. And he's going to talk about maybe doing a ride from, it's going to be hard, from San Diego up towards where you are, up north. And having that GPS phone, well, you guys have used it in the races and stuff too, right?
Correct. We use a satellite device called IMSAT.
Oh, okay.
And it's very, very handy.
Yeah, especially if you're deep, right?
Yeah, anywhere. You know what I mean? And if everything's working correctly, it's just like you and I talking right here, and I can be talking to him up there in the
The problem is you never want to get a phone call from that device, right?
No, usually not. No. But it is there, and it's handy if you need it.
So I definitely want to talk with you a little bit more, Zach. Like as it gets further along into 2021, we want to plan a dual sport ride from going down the Trans-America Trail, which is starts in Oregon and ends in South Carolina, and it kind of crisscrosses around through the United States. And we're going to take some side-by-side guys, and I even think, as Joe said, to have a chase truck, I think the Warfighter guys might want to take their 5 tons of fun, the TRV,
there you go,
and follow us in their big old monster. So I think having the understanding of what Zach's been through would be a huge, huge help.
We just had a podcast with Hubert Rowley from Nitro Circus. Mm-hmm. He's the all-American redneck over there in the garage at the Nitro Circus.
Yep.
And he was actually the first guy to conquer the Trans Am on a UTV coast to coast, like beach to beach.
Yep, and he went with Shayna Lester and Barbie too, 4x4 Barbie, Pleasant Cook.
Yep. And so there's a lot to understand about that trip, and it's not a short trip either. Like it's not a week long. if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
we were gonna drag it out through 5 or 6 weeks and do a ride day and then a press day at a dealership, and we'll just have a whole thing. Because the goal for us is to, at the end of 5 years, to make $1 million for spinal cord research. So we want to give back to the Red Bull Wings for Life. So that's the goal. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. We'll see if it even comes to fruition with all this crap going on. But it would be really cool to get your understanding of it, because going into a project like that is massive.
Yeah, I mean, it took Hubert, 30 days to get that trail done, doing stops every day like you're talking about. And, even with what we were doing, we had goals of anywhere between 200 to 400 miles a day to make our timeline, which was originally 5 days and ended up being 8 days. Because, again, you're looking at your Speedo and you're not going over 20 miles an hour average down the trail. So there's a lot of reality that has to hit home, and you have to take a lot of things in from those that have done similar or likewise things to get more knowledge under your belt, because you have to plan every mile, every hour of that trip, and then you have to stick to it and then be ready to deviate from it when something happens.
Dude, that's so cool though. Like just hearing his story and like how much, like even the bad parts about it still get me excited.
Yeah, no, it's an adventure, I'm sure.
Well,
and like you say, running
it's like
200-300 miles a day, that's a lot.
That's a lot, dude. Yeah. 200-300 miles a day?
Day in and day out. That's pretty tough.
That's morning to evening, yep. For sure.
That's like driving from Phoenix to San Diego, like in a day.
Yeah.
In a UTV, off-road.
20 mile an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And every 3 seconds making a hairpin turn.
Yeah.
And you got to stop for everybody to pee.
Now, does everybody have like a GPS? They follow the trail, or do you have some kind of a different system there?
Yeah, so since this was a conglomeration of different guys from across the country, we all had different systems, all had different experience. We had some guys that have raced mints, things like that, so they were running lead nav. Okay. I personally was trying out something new with an iPad and a dedicated Bluetooth GPS system. We had guys using Garmin's. We had all sorts of different versions of the same information. And it was interesting to see that each different system kind of gave different capabilities to the driver when they were out on the trail. And one of the biggest things that I can say is that knowing your system and knowing it's rock solid before you go is a huge part of that. And, you're not just making sure you have the trail on the device, you're making sure you have all the trails for 20 miles around you on the device, the entire length, because at any given point in time, that road could be closed. There could be, a rock slide. There could be a wildfire. And so you have to be able to deviate from that and make adjustments on the fly. And like some of the guys' devices, they're like a car nav. They just say, okay, turn left in, 100 feet or something like that. But when you get to that 100-foot marker and it says turn left and there's 5 lefts, which one do you take?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point, man.
And so these like car style GPSs, they're also not a 10 hertz for GPS. So you can actually outrun your GPS at that point. And so like with my setup, it was actually rock solid the entire time. I was really impressed with it. I never got in front of it. It was always accurate. And it was the top down map style. Like if you were looking at a paper map, you could see all 5 turns and you would know that the line that you had plotted beforehand went down second from the left or something. And you just knew which one to take, and you took it.
I like that, because that like makes a lot of sense in my head when you look at the maps like that.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of the guys really like the lead nav system. It works great, but if you don't have everything just dialed in perfect on your route, deviating from that can be a little complicated.
Dude, most of the guys in the racing use Lawrence, right?
Yes, Lawrence. Yep.
Lawrence, yeah. So they, I guess you could probably have that in the same.
Yeah, and a lot of people are using the lead nav stuff too.
Yeah, I tried that lead nav stuff, and I liked it, but I don't know, I never really used it on like in a really big escapade like what Zach's talking about.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is that understanding that there's different mechanisms for different reasons, right? Like the lead nav system is really there for you to hit your waypoints, to make your turns, to make the end goal. Whereas something like I was running, I could use any mapping system I wanted because it was on an open platform like an iPad or something. And then it was up to me to decide what works best for my scenario. And so with my scenario, I installed all the maps. I had the Forest Service maps overlaid on top of it.
Cool.
And I had the best of all the worlds, and I could have all the information I needed to make the best choice going forward if something were to happen.
Dude, that's like sensory overload for this guy. But I definitely think that those are valuable. And the nice thing about it is that he had fail safes, right? Because if one of them didn't work good, the other one, they could look at different ones. Like, super cool.
And we had those situations. People did have to rely on each other in various scenarios because we were focused on one way versus another way, and somebody else had that covered.
Yeah, it's like if every single person had lead nav, then they wouldn't have been able to know what's going on. It's like if everybody has AT&T and like nobody has Sprint, and Sprint's the only one that gets service.
Yeah, exactly.
So when are you going to release some of this podcast and stuff like that? Because I want to check it out.
Yeah, so depending on the clock tonight, I'll see if I can't get stuff uploaded. The audio version should be up in the morning, and so everybody can look forward to that Tuesday morning. We typically release on Monday mornings, but this week was just a little bit longer of an episode. There was over 3.5 hours to edit down. So, excuse me, the video version should, basically be up as soon as YouTube's done crunching on it.
Right on, man. I think it's so fantastic, the content these guys are putting out. I look forward to watching them. So
yeah, no, that's cool. That's very interesting.
So Zach and I actually talked earlier this week, and I've never got to listen to a full episode of The Dirt Life yet because I'm here talking about it. Yeah. But I watch as many of theirs as I can. So you guys definitely have to go check it out and watch it. Zach does a fantastic job, and obviously the content was interesting, so we want to be able to share it with you guys too. So whenever we can have Zach come on with interesting stuff like this, we're always going to have him on. It'll be nice to collaborate together.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Getting to know you and what you're doing over there is definitely going to be, something we want to lean on. You guys have the race industry under your belt as far as experience and a passion for it, and that's something that we enjoy, but it's not something that we do day to day and breathe like you guys. And so being able to lean on each other is going to be an awesome way of benefiting the community at large.
Yeah, and it's cool too because Zach's actually had arm's length experience too, because he used to work for a company called 509, which he told me was bought by Polaris. Okay. And so he's had good industry involvement for a long time, man.
Cool.
Yeah, we enjoy getting out to the community and being at the events. This year has kind of put a hamper on everything, so we're looking forward to getting out as soon as we can. Hopefully the wildfires don't, continue the
how's
the
that going
this
up
year,
there,
but
man? How are you guys doing?
It's looks like Mars outside my window at the moment, but hopefully over the next couple of days the winds will blow them out and we'll be able to have some fresh air again.
How's it on your side of town, man? Because it's gray, it's gray everywhere in Arizona.
Yeah, it's come down here in southern Arizona pretty good too. It's kind of a haze.
I put a new air filter. I put a new air filter in our house about 36 hours ago, and it already looks like the color of wet sand. So.
Dude, maybe this is invent something new, like a particulate filter like they have on side-by-sides, but do it for the house.
If they worked on smoke, I'd buy one in a heartbeat.
I know, right? Well, we really appreciate you chiming in, man. That was awesome to be able to talk with you this week. I learned a lot about what you guys are doing, and it really got me interested, especially in I've seen some of the conversations that you and Ian have had, and first of all, you guys are doing a fantastic job, so we're going to keep tuning into the content. So to all of our audience members that are either listening on iTunes or viewing tonight or even through social media, definitely go check those guys out. I think I said it before, they're at Side by Side Guys on Instagram, and you can also find them obviously on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff, but we have them linked as well. So I'm going to be checking out their content tomorrow when I'm driving up to Phoenix.
Yeah, so we're on iTunes, Spotify, all those different things, and sidebyside.guys.com. If you just want to link to everything, we also have articles going up. We did a full rundown of the new Yamaha RMAX 1000, the new Wolverine that just came out, and full write-up on all the details there. And as time goes on, we'll have more vlogs coming out, more podcasts coming out, again, in audio and video form. On the video form, we put overlays and links and all the content on the website. So if you watch the video version of our podcast or go to our website, you'll have all the links to all the references that we have on the podcast as well. We got a ton of content coming, we got a new XP4 or Pro XP4 going to be built here shortly for Full Throttle with Ian's marketing team. So look forward to that information. Yeah, and so we got some cool parts coming there. I think we're getting ready to button up the wrap on that, so that should go out to print soon. And then we got a whole bunch of I got a bunch of catch up to do because I've been doing overlanding for 2 months and haven't been getting content out. So I got a lot of backlogged content to get out there for you guys.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And the one thing that I heard was that anytime you put stickers on the car, plus 20 horsepower, no problem.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, always.
For sure.
So you got to have the wrap done before you go test it out.
Clean car is a fast car.
Yep, exactly. Well, thanks so much, dude. And one of these days when all this BS stops, we'll have to get you out to the races and give you a little bit of insight into all this stuff.
Yeah, I was really hoping to get down there this year. We had some events that we were going to hopefully get to, Sandsport and some other things, SEMA, and all that kind of got mixed around in the blender. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's been a long time since I've been down to the Southwest since I left, and look forward to kind of seeing some new stuff that's been growing up down there.
You miss anything down in the Southwest, like Gila Monsters or anything like that?
Yeah, I should. The only thing I really miss is the authentic Mexican food, but
the authentic Mexican food. We had some of that tonight, right, Joe?
Yeah, we had some tacos that.
Well, we were
delicious.
George and I were talking on the phone about Gila Monsters the other day, and I promised I would bring him our newest family member.
Oh man,
Spike.
So for anybody that's listening on iTunes, he's showing us in the camera. What kind of lizard is that, man? It looks almost like a horny toad, right? Like
yeah.
Look at that tail.
So this thing's covered in spikes all the way down, and if he gets you, it hurts pretty good. But his name's Spike. He was part of our family for a long time, and he's a Euromastix. The genus comes from Asia, Africa area. But yeah, he's packing.
Dude, that thing's badass. Huh? Don't show the kids that, Joe, because then they're going to want it.
That thing is crazy.
That thing's badass.
But I'll tell you what, if you want your kids to have a pet that they like to show off to all their friends and it's not a lot of work.
That's it.
This guy literally just eats lettuce and that's it.
He's stoked. Dang, that's freaking badass, man.
Now is he full grown, or is that his full size, or?
Yeah, he's pushing 9 years old, I think. So he's about the end of his life, as far as the typical lifespan goes. But yeah, we were talking about Gila Monsters, and I've held a few of those in my lifetime, and they're mean little suckers, but they're beautiful and they're awesome. And I wish I could have one as a pet if it didn't try to kill me.
Yeah, they're pretty rare. I've ran across a couple of them on the trail, but
so Joe was saying that he might want to relocate to somewhere near my house, but. Dude, Gila Monsters love me. Like, for some reason, they're always around me.
Really?
There's one that lives right here on the front porch and just goes wherever he wants, man.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, I saw you one shooing off the sidewalk the other day. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. So, well, we really appreciate it, Zach. Thank you very much. Tanner's going to be calling in just a few minutes here, so we're going to let you go. But like I said before, anybody that wants to, go check out @SideBySide Guys on social media and all the other channels, sidebysideguys.com.
Yep, and we got product reviews, long-term reviews, vlogs, entertainment. We got edits of writing, all that kind of stuff to entertain the full community, whatever you're interested in.
You're doing such a good job, Zach, so keep kicking ass and tell Ian we said hello.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, you
bud.
too.
We'll see you. Super cool to see, like, you can be all the way on the other side of the country and still be doing very, very like-minded stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what's so neat about this side-by-side industry is it's getting to be worldwide. You know,
really is, huh? Well, we're going to talk with Austin about traveling the world to go race side-by-sides, man.
Correct. And a good friend of mine, Toby Price over in Australia.
Yeah.
He's raced his Can-Am 2 times here in the last month and a half.
Dude.
And, yeah, no, there's just it's
Speaking of guys that are driving Can-Ams that are on the other side of the world, I saw a video on social media of Nasser doing this like crazy sideways tabletop jump where he bounces off the end of it and keeps this thing wide open, this X3 wide open going into a corner. Like, his driving skills are like tons above most people, man.
Yeah, no, it's
bananas to see that guy drive, dude.
We were fortunate enough to have him as him and his navigator Matthew for the Baja 1000 this year, and
that guy's a savage.
Yeah, no, their section, I think, was about 300 miles in pitch black. I think they got into truck at about 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, and had raced to the finish, which is about 2:30 in the morning, pitch black. and those guys made up a ton of time.
Full pepper the whole time?
Full pepper the whole time. Yeah, and there were people like, holy cow, it's the end of the race, or towards the end of the race, of a 1,000-mile race, and he's going like he just started.
Like a bat out of hell the whole time? Did he keep the truck going?
Yeah, it was great. Great.
Really?
We ended up second place this year. Yeah.
Holy smokes, man.
But, yeah, no, there's some serious skill
is super cool,
behind those
man.
two.
Well, we got Tanner Carew calling in, man. What's up, Tanner? How are you, bud?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to have you on, man. I talked to you earlier this week, and it was cool to talk with you because we don't get many, we'll call it stick and ball sports, we don't get many football players in the NFL calling in to want to come on the show. You know, mostly everybody's off-road head. But you know what? Tanner's both. So he likes doing moto and having a good time, and he likes playing football.
Yep, that is kind of the plan, right? Do both things you love. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you could tell our audience a little bit more about what you do as your job, man. So you're obviously a long snapper for the Seahawks in the NFL.
So I was, yeah. So
you were.
I played college football at University of Oregon. There I had a really solid career. I was first team All-American and did everything there and had a good time. And then from there I went to the Seahawks. And then after that, I went to the Bears. And after the Bears, I played in the AAF. And after that, most recently, I was in the XFL. So I was in the XFL. I played for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Nice, man. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I like most when I had a conversation with him is he's just a hard worker, dude.
Yeah.
Like both of us sitting here, we're hard workers. You know, we get along with people that work hard, and when the clock turns 5 o'clock, you don't go home until the job's done, right? And
Correct.
He's the same dude.
Exactly.
So even better than that, he likes moto, dude. Like, he grew up doing moto. He's a moto head like us. It's badass.
No, yeah. So I grew up in Southern California. I've been on a bike like literally ever since I can remember, like since I was 4. Like so my parents bought this lake house on a little private ski lake called Calico Lake in 1999. And it was in the high desert. So we had dirt bikes. And I've been riding ever since all the trails out there. So, and then since then, like every year growing up, I was at every Anaheim race.
Nice.
Glen Helen races, like every race I was there for. Like name an Anaheim from like 99 to whenever the hell, like 2017, I was probably there.
Nice, dude.
Like
we probably crossed paths at some point.
Correct.
I know exactly, right? But yeah, we did a ton of like crazy adventure rides growing up and a lot of long distance rides. Like that's kind of what I grew up on. Was the long distance stuff.
All right, I got 2 questions for you. First of all, who's your guy in motocross right now?
Right now,
like
450 class. Right now, it's Zach Osborne.
You're going with Zach Osborne? Who are you going with, Joe?
I'd say Osborne's pretty good.
You're going with Osborne too?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to pick.
Watching a little bit of
I'm
that.
just going to go against the grain and just pick Barsha, dude. Dude, he's tearing shit up, man.
He's solid.
I mean, I guess you could go that way because you probably got to knock everyone out of the way on the way up. So, like, I mean, he has a nickname for it, but
I just like seeing it, dude.
Like with Zach Osborne.
Yeah, I guess if we're a betting team here, Zach Osborne's probably a solid bet. But man, I love seeing the freaking throwing the wrench in the mix.
The carnage, yeah.
Okay, and then my second question for you, Tanner, was what was your favorite track in the high desert? Because I have one.
As far as like a moto track?
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, lately, so when I was home lately, I was riding a lot of Paula.
Oh, you were down there in San Diego?
I was down there lately, but yeah, that's probably my
What about growing up
down there? Yeah.
What about when you were growing up in the high desert? Did you get to go to the moto tracks?
Not really. No, it was all growing up. I mostly did desert riding, just crazy long rides.
Did you get to go ever to that track called Sunrise, Joe?
Yes.
Dude.
I went to Sunrise one. We used to go to LACR a lot.
Yeah, LACR was like, it was a little sandier and stuff.
Yep.
It was all right, but Sunrise was all time in my book, dude.
Yeah.
I love that place. Did you ever get to go there, Tanner?
I never got to go there.
Dude, it was sick. They had this big uphill triple that you could barely grease on a 125, man, like full tilt. It was.
That sounds sketchy.
Yeah, it was full, like as hard as you could go to be able to get it. But do you remember some riders, Casey Lytle, Casey Johnson, all those guys?
Oh yeah,
like those guys were the badass dudes back in the day.
In our days, yeah.
Those guys were super fast. So those are the kind of like the highlights of my high desert experience. But man, Pala is such a fun track too.
Yeah, last time I was out there, I'm going around thinking I'm doing good, and freaking Justin Cooper, he passed me. Every time I did one lap, he did two. It was unbelievable. Like, not even close.
That's awesome, though. You get to, like, really get, like, a gut check how fast those dudes are going.
Yeah, they just pass you, and you're like, how? Like, this doesn't make sense. Not human.
So, and that's another question I should ask you then, too. So, growing up in Southern California, you got to go watch Glen Helen. You got to go to Anaheim all the time. When you go to those outdoor nationals, like, I've had this discussion probably, I don't know, every single pro moto that's happened this year. Somebody will text me and go, they look like they're going pretty fast on TV. And I go, dude, if you saw how fast they're going in real life, like, it's hard to keep your eyes on them going down a straightaway.
Yeah, no, it's
impossible.
Yeah.
Like, they're just flat ripping. Like, I think, honestly, like, they did that Texplex for the UTV race. They put a speed limit sign or whatever, like I don't know, to clock the speed going in the first turn in the side-by-sides. I think they should do that at some of the nationals down some of those big straightaways. Like, to tell how fast they're going before they hit Laraco's leap at Redbud, because those guys are full noodle going up that jump.
They probably don't want to know.
They don't want to know that, no.
So when we were at Texplex and they were doing the Pro NA and then the Pro Turbo class, going in the first turn, they had a speedometer sign. I don't know what you call it. But anyways, so they were testing the speed to go into the first turn. And the NA guys were, I think, just under 60 miles an hour. And the Turbo guys were almost 10 miles an hour faster than going into the corner. Yeah. They had a pretty good run, but going into a first turn with 10 dudes going 70 miles an hour, like, that's pretty legit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's some white knuckle.
Definitely.
So you did a bunch of desert riding. Did you ever make it down to Baja and do any of that fun stuff?
No, that was always like our dream, was go down to Baja, me and my dad.
Okay.
So we always did all the Southern California stuff. So the big ride, like, we did every year, that, like, I wasn't even allowed to go on it till I was in high school. Like, it was my dad's rule. Like, wasn't even allowed. So they do it every year. They call it the State Line Run. So for the longest time, it was from Barstow at that lake house to State Line to Prim. And then they rerouted it, and now it goes to Laughlin. So it goes from Calico Lake, like, right.
No, but I've heard of that State Line Run. Yeah.
Yeah, so you go out of Calico Lake and you go to Laughlin, stay there a night and a whole another day and have some fun, and then the next day after that, ride back. So it's 180 miles on the ride each way on a bike.
Dude, that's pretty deep.
Yeah, that's pretty deep.
That's logging some serious miles on a bike.
Yep.
Do you have a chance to get gas a couple times?
Yeah, so we got a couple chase trucks that run it with us and do the whole thing. It's a really good time, and it's like my dad's buddy Ray. We call him Navigator Ray. He maps it out so good, and this guy, he's freaking crazy. So he says for the 20th anniversary, they're going that house in Barstow and going to Lukenbach, Texas.
How is that even possible? Like, is there trails for all that, or is it you get a street?
There's trails. It's a dual sport ride. Lukenbach, Texas is the 20th year anniversary because he says he's listened to this song about Lukenbach, Texas for 40 years.
Oh, great!
He's gonna do it. And I'm like, okay, Ray.
We just had a comment come in, said she loves Tanner, Kim Carew, so.
Oh, is that my mom?
Probably. You always got to have your mom comment in, dude. If she didn't love you, she wouldn't comment. So
of course.
We got to shout her out, though. So thanks, Mom. We really appreciate it.
Shout out, Mom.
But, man, like, and he was telling me about the ride that he wants to do from Southern California up to, I think you said it was Washington?
Yeah, Idaho. So
Idaho?
I did some riding up in North Idaho recently, about 2 months ago, at this place called Gold Creek Lodge. And it's like Disneyland to all of us.
So, dude, I checked it out. Like, he told me about it, and I checked it out online. You can rent dual sport bikes. You can rent electric mountain bikes. You can rent, like, water equipment. This place, literally, like what he said, it looks like Disneyland for adults like us, man. Like, completely living your dirt life with no attachments. Just go up there and live it as hard as you can.
That'd be a good time. That'd be fun.
It's amazing.
Change of scenery for us too.
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's on like the second or third deepest lake in the country. It might be the world. I don't remember. And so they have like a Mastercraft right on the lake for you. Like, you can go wake surfing. Then you can, and then it's all like the best dirt bike riding, UTV trails like ever, like up there. And then they have like a little hotel, shop, restaurant. It's like an awesome place.
Dude, it looks so sick. Like, I would way rather go there than Disneyland.
And the rentals.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. But you said that you wanted to, like, dual sport ride it up there. Like, that was pretty intriguing to me because I was like, well, first of all, you're a football dude. And I was like, but that's fucking badass. I would love to do that.
That's like my dream ride. I want to do that. I want to start in San Diego and I want to like look at the beach and then go up there. So I want to start there. And like the first 2 days of the ride, I pretty much think it's very, like I've done most of it besides the freeways. It's just, you know, like pop out Cajon Pass, Cleghorn, up to Silverwood Lake, Arrowhead Lake, Big Bear, down, stop the lake house, next day do the state line run to Laughlin and go from there.
Okay, so you kind of have to go in a little bit and then go up.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
That sounds fun, though, man. And we were talking about it with Zach earlier. Like, even his ride sounded super cool, and I want to do the ride that Hubert Rowland did, like, and go across the country on the Trans-America Trail. But maybe a good idea before we do this is to prep a little bit, right? Do a little shorter run. Maybe we could do half of these ones first, like, and do something with Tanner, like, through Southern California first, and then do a run all the way up there to Idaho and, like, go for that.
Yeah, no, because that going day in and day out, it gets tough. I know I've
you still have your
my 450.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to go on a couple rides with Cameron Steele and the Desert Assassins.
Yeah, down there in Baja.
Yeah, down in Baja, and we'd run 180 to 200 miles a day.
Mm-hmm. How beat are you at the end of the day?
Pretty beat.
Yeah.
And then the next day the same thing. And then the next day the same thing. And the next day it's like, whoa.
It's like a Tour de France.
By the end of the weekend you're beat. But you see so much stuff and it's so much fun and it's you know.
And clearly you get to eat a lot of good tacos.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Dude, it sounds like it'd be so fun though. Like I want to get another. I sold my dual sport, but I want to get another dual sport and try to start doing some of these things. What bike do you have right now, Tanner?
No. I'm sorry?
Do you have a bike right now or no?
Yeah, down Southern California, I got a KTM 500, the dual sport one, and then up here I'm riding a KTM 350.
How do you like? What's the difference? Because I was thinking about trying to pick up one of those KTM 500s, but I was comparing it to a CRF 450L though.
Well, man, I love it. For like up in the desert, it's like an awesome bike. Just, I mean, because I grew up like just hitting the gas and going wide open in the desert. Then I got up here because now I'm living in Portland and I did all that riding in Idaho, and holy crap, I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot. Like it is a completely different type of riding up here. And like you can't take that 500 up here, way too much power for that.
Oh, really?
So,
I always thought it was better to have more power, but I guess not, huh?
More nimble. More nimble on the 350.
Yeah,
you know
that's a good point. And
yeah.
that's one of the reasons I was considering the KTM 500 EXCF over the CRF 450L was because it's 45 pounds lighter. And it's got
more, is it lighter?
Yeah, and it's got more ponies, so I figured what the heck, win-win, right?
Yeah, the lighter definitely a big deal.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, you can lighten them up a little bit, but you can't lighten them up 45 pounds. So I figured, and maybe it's just the aluminum frame, but whatever it is, I was thinking about that. So if you're saying even the terrain is different that much for the lighter, nimble 350, maybe I should consider doing a different bike than the 500.
Because the 350, so I rode the 350 as one of the rental bikes up at Gold Creek, and I loved it. And like, it's like the riding is just so much different. Like we were just talking about how many miles we've done in a day.
Yeah.
So I've ridden 180 to 200 miles in one day down the desert. And don't get me wrong, I was tired, but when I did this ride at Gold Creek, the GM there, Greg, rode with us and showed us some trails. And dude, we left at 10 a.m. and got back at 5 p.m. and went 52 miles.
Holy smoke. So you were wrestling the whole day.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
So I guess that would be a good testament to saying maybe you want a little bit lighter, more nimble bike. And you could probably tune them though, right? Like your 350, you could probably make it a little bit hotter than what it is.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you could.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll reconsider it then. That's cool, man. That's good experience and good things to know. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So what's
God, it was so hard.
What's on your roster for the next couple months here to round out 2020? We're gonna have you on the show a couple more times if that's cool with you.
Oh, of course, love to come back. But yeah, no, I mean, there's riding, training, staying ready for another call. just hanging out. And I'm up here in Portland right now, and you can't even see outside. There's so much smoke. It's crazy.
I think that's probably pretty close to where Zach was too. So
yep.
That's crazy, man. So it's that gnarly, huh?
Yeah. So I guess like I was talking to my dad, like the air quality like index or whatever, like hazardous is 300, and we're at like 530 today.
Oh shit.
Oops.
Yeah, it's like on another level.
So wearing a mask for you guys is like a protective barrier, not like a COVID deal.
Oh yeah, no, like you like want to wear a mask, like it almost like hurts to breathe out here.
Dude, are you guys staying safe though? You guys all good?
Yeah, we're all good. Just trying to stay inside as much as possible. But like we're supposed to get a lot of rain tomorrow, so then some of the smoke will be gone. So that's good.
That'll help out a bunch.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get our featured guest on tonight, Austin Jones. We're gonna have him come on. So I'll talk to you this week, bud, and we'll have you come on the show a few more times because I'm really liking these conversations that we're having.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys coming on and telling us about all your rides, man. You're getting us super excited about this stuff.
Yeah. Let's do them. I'm in.
All right, bud. We'll talk to you soon, Tanner. Thanks so much for calling in.
Hey, you guys have a good one. Thanks.
You too. Later.
Yeah.
Man, that was cool for him to call in and talk to us about this stuff. So I guess both of the people that we talked to today are just getting us like super jacked up on going out and doing some rides, right?
And he mentioned how riding up north he got fatigued, really winded. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine the elevation would have a lot to do with that also.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Especially for us, though, like living so low.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Well, it'll be neat to be able to experience some of this stuff. I mean, as we get older, we want to get out and go and do all these different things and have a little bit of fun. And what do they say? One life, live it. Okay. Well, we got Austin Jones coming up in just a few minutes here. We're going to take a quick commercial break here from our sponsors. So we will see you guys in 5.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in Desert and Score. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target, and we are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions. racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammer, the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Products, period. Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've been trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch. You can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans, like let's say a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there, or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah. Also, as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel. And then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
It's
the
like a first
truck.
aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that, if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We are back, and man, we got one of the all-times in the studio joining us tonight. We have Austin Jones. Austin is a Baja multi-time Baja 500 and 1,000 champion, I think you said.
1,000.
And he's done overseas races like the Dakar Rally. He's done side-by-sides. He's done trophy trucks, man. He has got one career that everybody in this room is jealous of, that's for sure. Joe's got to be able to work with him a little bit, so we'd like to welcome Austin Jones to the show, man. What's up, bud?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's good to see you, and I'm glad that you were able to check out a little bit of the show earlier, too, to talk about going on those big trips on moto stuff, dude, because all of us grew up doing moto.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Some of those trips sound so sick, like that state line one that he was talking about and stuff like that. I feel like I've done some of those roads when I was out there training and stuff for road book training, so I feel like I kind of know what he's talking about, and all of that's super rad.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you have on some of those trails out there, because you spent, a month out there in that Nevada desert doing all that stuff?
Yeah, altogether, I've been out there, a couple months altogether. But, when we were doing a lot of training for Dakar this year, me and Ricky and Braybeck and Andrew Short and some of those guys were out there running with Jimmy Lewis. And, we run all those roads out there by Pahrump and Prim and stuff like that. So, I feel like that would be sick.
Well, so two things that I want to say is, first of all, you've worked with Austin before, so you know him a little bit better than I do. But he's a hard worker, clearly. But what kind of stuff, like maybe you guys could both kind of talk about it, what kind of preparation do you have to have when you do a Baja race or even a Dakar race? Like you're saying a month in the desert?
Yeah, and I know, and Austin can fill us in a bit more detail on that, but for the rally stuff, in Dakar and the Rally de Morocco and all those, they use a road book system.
Right, so it's a book.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you've got to know your waypoints and your latitude and your longitude, and it's tricky, as he knows. He knows a lot more about it than I do. So.
Well, so the main question that I'm getting at here, and you can have Austin can really get into this with us, but is the amount of effort that people don't see behind the scenes. We get to watch it on TV and see him ripping through, Dakar and all these different places and, Saudi or wherever it is. But, dude, a month in the desert?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really the stuff that it helps so much. You got to go out there and you got to learn with your navigator, and you got to get down your timing and things like that. So, whether it be Baja or one of those rally races like that, same thing with Baja. We'll go down there and we'll pre-run for 15 days at a time every single day, just like those guys were talking 200 miles a day in the trucks and stuff. So, yeah, it's a crazy amount of work, and obviously it's fun, we love what we do and stuff like that, but it's hard sometimes. So yeah, it's good.
What kind of stuff does it teach you? Because the show is called Dirt Life for a reason, but like you guys are literally out there living a dirt life you live it your whole life, but for that month, that's a pretty hardcore dirt life, man. Like you're out there, you got to fix it, you got to cook it, you got to do everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing too, is like, we're out there, usually me and my dad, we have chase guys and stuff like that, but generally we're pretty, by ourselves. So when we're out there in the middle of nowhere and stuff, and maybe our chase guys are on the other side or something, you don't really have a choice other than to fix it and, get with it, get back that night or wherever you're staying that night. So, yeah, it definitely teaches you. You just got to, whatever it is, just put your head down and keep going, and whatever gets you out of the desert, it's what you got to do.
That makes me happy to hear that, though, because like the lessons learned, like that's lifelong lessons, dude.
Yeah, no, you gotta, and as he knows, just better than anybody, you gotta take care of your equipment.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the desert ain't nice to you. You know what I mean?
It'll take no prisoners.
It doesn't take no prisoners. So you gotta be leery of your surroundings and what's going on, and it's an adventure.
We were making fun of the moms commenting in, but your wife, the kid's mom, Yesenia, says, "You go, Austin." So thank you, Yesenia, for commenting in. We really appreciate it too. So I think she would have dug those tacos that we had earlier, bro.
Oh yeah. No, she's definitely on the tacos.
Dude, those things are good, man. So that's actually a good question. What was the best taco you had in all these trips?
Man, I have to give it to the taco factory down in San Felipe.
Have you had those, Joe?
Oh yeah. No, they're good.
Wait, is that the red one? It has the red roof on it, the red tarp kind of thing, or no?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think right there on the Malecon, right there by the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, in San Felipe.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So I've had those ones.
I'd have to for the people who know Baja. There's a little town called Valley de Trinidad.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a little taco stand there that, hands down,
blow your mind.
It's probably just because it's out in the middle of nowhere, and you're tired and you're dirty and you're hot. And these tacos are just the bomb.
It's
the best tacos I've ever had.
Yeah, like when you crack open a beer and it's like the best thing you've ever tasted in your whole life.
Pretty
you eat those tacos and it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, and Austin can contest to that. Those tacos down there in Valley T are really good.
So
100%.
Dude, I'm not a huge seafood guy or anything, but my dad had some fresh shark tacos that were down there. He was like off the charts that they were so good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are into those.
No, the fish is a little bit more fresh down there than this here in Arizona.
Well, that's where he had them, yeah. So he was pumped on it. All right, so let's get off the taco talk and talk a little bit about some of the questions that we had for you. So your dad has been racing for a long time, but so you kind of grew up with, we'll call it racing in your blood. But what was like the first memory that you had, like, wow, like I really like this racing stuff, like I'm into it?
Probably my first memories are going out to Parker with my dad when he used to race Parker, and that was always one that I could go to because we live, 2.5 hours away, so it was always super close and super easy to get me there and with my mom and stuff like that. And I just remember like growing up and how much fun it would be out there. And we had a Rhino. You guys were talking about rhinos earlier, and he had a Rhino, and he had it wrapped just like the race car with the old Fab Tech, the orange and blue. And
did we say wraps make it 20 horsepower, dude?
Yeah, we would go out like after the day was done, whatever he was doing. We would go out, and he'd let me drive sometimes, but then we'd go do the Python at night when there was nobody out there, right there in Parker, the whole infield section. And that was probably when I realized I was like, this is rad. And like,
nice.
He's super, super good at this. So this is super fun with him, So yeah, it was cool.
Dude, that's cool. Can you do you remember like your first like kind of foray into that stuff? I remember like going out with my parents and being like, oh my God, this is the funnest thing ever. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, and just we were just born into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I say, we never, no sports, no football, no baseball, it was just motorsports.
Yeah.
3-wheelers, motorcycles, and then just turned into cars, you know?
Yep, 100%. Yeah, so Yesenia wanted to know when's your next race.
So right now I'm planning on going over to, they replaced the Rally of Morocco with a rally in Spain this year, and that's on October 6th through the 10th, and I'm planning on going over there and running that next.
Oh, cool. So that's around the same time as the UTV World Championship, but that'll be a little bit more fun, it sounds like. What kind of car are you going to drive when you go out there? Can-Am?
I'll be driving the Can-Am from South Racing.
Right on. That'll be super fun, dude. Have you been out there before?
I ran a rally in Spain. That was my very first international race. Was in 2018. I ran a rally out in Spain in a different part, actually. But yeah, it's sick out there. It's all really nice farm roads and really long, like pretty, you know what I mean, sceneries and stuff like that. So that racing is so much different than Baja or like America and stuff like that. It's so much more scenic, and it's so much more open and less just, you know, beat the shit out of you the whole time, more just be able to kind of drive freely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
That is super cool. And so I've only got to race in the United States and obviously down south in Mexico and stuff, but you got to go over to Australia. Where else have you gone, Joe?
Just racing wise, just Australia. And Mexico and stuff here.
How was the scenery and stuff in Australia? Flat?
Yeah, it was flat. Where we raced was in the center of Australia, and it was pretty much flat, but it was still rough.
Well, that leads me to my next question for Austin is like, how different is it? Like, or do you have to prepare? Like, what's the difference, right? Like, you're going to a completely different country, your diet changes, your sleep schedule changes, like everything's different, right? And then you have the scenery different, like. Do you go like full pumped on that, or do you be like, man, I got to like start managing this and get back into it? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely prep for it and stuff. Yeah, you'd be surprised, man. Like living out there, like Dakar this year, like camping out every single day, just not really knowing where you're going to sleep. And then you get back to the bivouac and, you know, that kind of stuff. It definitely wears on you. So you got to prepare mentally and stuff like that. And you realize how important things like getting sleep, like proper sleep and eating proper food when you need to eat it and stuff like that. You really realize it. So, like, I mean, you kind of mentally get prepared for that beforehand and do as many things as you can. I mean, like, I know that every single time we go anywhere, we bring still like Ziploc bags full of like Slim Jims and stuff like that, just so like you can try to keep it as normal as possible. But yeah, you just got to kind of mentally prepare more than anything. And then once you get there after about 2 or 3 days, you're pretty dialed.
Yeah, that's cool.
And there's so much fun with those races, all the media and all the scrutineering and all the things that the FIA makes us do over there. You're always on it. So you get snapped into it pretty quick.
You talk about it like you're a veteran now, which is pretty cool. But let's take a step back real quick. So you talked about the bivouac and you talked about scrutineering and stuff. And that's, for our audience that doesn't know what that kind of stuff is, so the bivouac is kind of like the pits, but it's a moving pits. And it goes to like every different location where they're going to come back to at the end of the stage. And then the scrutineering is kind of like tech, where you go through tech and you have your car looked after, homologated and stuff like that. Is it a lot different than what happens in the United States and in Mexico?
Not a lot different. You know, it's the same kind of big production day where you just kind of roll the cars through. And so it's pretty similar in that aspect and things like that. But just kind of the scale of it is all bigger. The scale and it's like they have that kind of European professionalism to them. So everything's structured, it seems like, and a little bit like across a little bit tighter. Yeah, it's pretty similar, but just kind of that makes it different.
And, dude, those big trucks in the Dakar, I don't even know what those things are called, but they're like my favorite all-time thing.
They're scary.
How big are those things in real life?
Those things so fast, like they smoke us. For the most part, like the fast ones, they smoke us in UT. We can't keep up.
Yeah, like those guys are getting it, right?
Gnarly. What's that?
Those guys are getting it, right?
Oh, yeah, those dudes are crazy. Full flat, all the Kamaz dudes from Russia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those dudes are insane. Because, like, I'll chase them through the dunes, and we'll be cresting over massive dunes and stuff like that, and I'll see, you know, they've got however many wheels on them. There's, like, 6 wheels up in the air, and it's super gnarly.
Like, one of those guys pass you, and they're, like, tires as big as your whole car?
Yeah, and that's exactly how it is,
Yeah.
Dude, could you imagine that, Joe?
Pretty scary.
especially in like the Can-Ams, you'll be sitting there and, you know, they press the button like here, because over in that rally racing, like you're not allowed to nerf people. That's like an automatic disqualify. They don't like that. So you press the button, you know, and then when someone comes over, you can kind of move over. And when they press those buttons, it gives you like a different alert if it's one of those big trucks. And dude, in the Can-Ams, it literally, when those things go by, it goes woo, 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 and your head and your helmet starts going around like that because of all the wind. It's so gnarly.
Oh man, dude,
and the sound, it's scary.
Dude, that would be so crazy. And not to get off the subject of talking about you, but it's like I love those trucks so much. Could you imagine like being a pit guy for those trucks, or being like one of the guys that has to work on those trucks? How sick.
Yeah,
dude. Because everything's got to be huge and heavy, right?
For sure.
If you got to replace a drive shaft, you got to have like 6 people.
Oh yeah, it's so gnarly. Like the transmissions, dude. The bell housing is literally like, it's like a full orb. Like it's so gnarly.
Really? Holy cow, man.
Yeah.
So going back to Spain next month, is that that's a stage event also?
Yeah. So this one will be it'll be essentially the last big rally race that they're planning before Dakar.
Okay.
So it got replaced with Morocco. Morocco was always the one that everyone went to go run before Dakar. So now with all the stuff going on with COVID, we've moved it to Spain. So it'll be I think a 4-day or 5-day rally with 5 stages. And
what's the mileage roughly, do you know, for the Aldeans?
Roughly, we're going around like right around 300 miles a day.
300 miles a day. Oh wow.
Yeah, just 250, 300 miles a day.
What's the total mileage on the race?
It'll be 1,200 miles.
I'm not sure. 100% sure. I think they have to be over a certain amount of kilometers. They have to be over like 1,500 kilometers to be able to be eligible for the points. So I assume that they're going to run us around quite a bit.
Yeah.
So when you have a race like that compared to like Baja is just go as fast as you can to a destination, right?
Correct, and it's solid. It's 1,000 miles nonstop.
So what's the difference, Austin, to be able to prepare for something that's a stage race where you're separating each day and you have to, you have time or certain times to repair the vehicle and stuff like that? You have to be in a completely different mindset, right? Because you're not just going full wood to one spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it is what you just said. It's completely different. I mean, it brings a whole level of strategy that like I didn't even know existed, and I didn't know that really was like that in these couple day long rallies like this. But yeah, well, I mean, and also if you win the stage that day, then you have to open up the road the next day. You have to be the first person to go. And when you open up the road, generally you make more navigational mistakes because there hasn't been anyone else through there. So you're really going off of the book and you can't tell anything else. So some days you don't want to win the stage. Some days you want to get like second or third and then start the next day second or third and try to win that day.
Yeah.
So it gets kind of weird because you know that you're going to lose some time. So you almost don't want to win certain stages, but then you look at certain stages and you see times and things like that. And maybe you get a little like an idea of the terrain and we're like, we're going to push. We're going to try to win this stage because if we win this stage, then we're dialed. So yeah, it's completely different. And then another thing too is like that's another thing like with Baja racing. If your transmission or if something breaks, you're done for essentially the race. You can get it fixed and you can go back in. But like if we break something out there, you can still recover, go back the next day, go super hard in the next stage, and try to chip back time. And it's a little bit more forgiving in that aspect. So it's cool because you're.
Yeah, like he said, it adds a whole nother level of complexity, right? Or it's another layer. So one of the things that I just I love that you said it and gave us a little bit of the inside scoop. I was talking to one of my moto buddies, and he was saying the same thing. Like most of the guys that win the Dakar, or a stage rally like that in the moto stuff, they never win the stages previous. They always wait till like the last stage to win, because if you have a trail to follow, you don't make hardly any mistakes, and you don't have to look at the road book as much. You can just go full tilt and just follow somebody's tracks.
100%. You just got to make sure that guy's going the right way.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can follow like a car that is going a good way, like with a good navigator, then you're dialed.
Yeah.
That's the worst too, is when you think you're dialed and you're like, oh, this guy, he's good, I'm good. And then like the dust goes from going away to you see the headlights coming at you because he's like, oh, I have no idea where I'm at. And you're like, damn, I just chased you for like 20 miles, bro. You don't know where you're going.
Like, oh shit.
And then we both go back and then like throwing up arms at each other. I don't know. And then both trying to go other ways. So yeah, it's a completely different style of racing.
And plus you're doing it in a different vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. So it's literally going from a big sword to a little needle.
I still think, I mean, that little needle is still a pretty badass little needle, though, that Can-Am that he drives.
No, it's a big needle. It's just the size.
Yeah, that's a good point, right?
And the capabilities. You know, I mean, it's still got a lot of capabilities, but...
Well, compared to what he's used to driving.
30-inch tires.
True.
That's our max tires, 30s.
Oh, you can only run 30s, huh?
Correct. They're on you're on a limited or like an entry level class, or how is that?
So there's only one. So it would just be the side-by-side class.
Oh, okay.
They're all the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the bikes, and then the T1s are the cars, and then like the truck that Nasser drives. Those are T1. And then T3 is all side-by-sides, and T4 is the big garbage trucks.
Dude, honestly, like, I'm taking garbage truck all day. But what would be your favorite one to drive? You would drive a T1?
Eventually, I would like to maybe get into the T1s. Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. What would you take, Joe? If you could drive any of them?
I say,
Dude, I'm going Kamaz all day, son.
I don't know. You get into the...
Just to say I did it, man.
On the media stuff, you get into the big sand dunes and all that. And I've been stuck in the sand before, and it sucks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So where I'm thinking, a UTV can scoot through the sand, as Austin knows, fairly well, a lot easier than one of them big-ass garbage trucks.
That's a good point. Yeah, and then when you're stuck, you're stuck.
You're stuck, yeah.
So we had a comment come in. John, I still can't pronounce Herperitz. Do you get a lot of factory support?
Currently, right now, we have support from Method Race Wheels and a couple more companies like that. But as of right now, no factory support. No.
But so one thing that I got to mention is there's not a lot of factory support, no matter how you look at it. We'll call it off-road racing, right? Trophy trucks are usually not built by a factory. Side-by-side racing, it's starting to get more factory support, but it's still in the baby stages, the infant stages of that stuff. So when you go into a sport or like this and the things that Austin are doing, you usually have to have good support, maybe not factory support, but you got to have somebody helping you out to be able to do these things and accomplish these things. But all of the effort that he's putting in now will accomplish something like that, factory support, when the time comes and there is the ability for, let's just say, Can-Am or somebody to be able to afford a good driver like Austin. And the same thing happened when we were racing Lucas Oil Short Course. There wasn't factory support from Yamaha and stuff like that until a certain level. Correct. And then we were able to start getting some support from them. So all of the stuff that Austin's doing now is paving the road for that factory support.
Correct.
Yeah, 100%. That's the goal. And, I'm patient and I'm young, so we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, try and drive as fast as we can, not crash, and we'll see what happens.
So what's been your favorite race to go to then? Do you like the stage ones, even though it is a smaller car?
Yeah, and when I say that, I like driving those. I like driving them a lot. I don't mean that in a bad way. But I don't know. It's tough because you love going down the Baja, you love to pre-run and everything like that. It's always so special down there. But the stage rallies are really cool. It's really cool to go over there and see other parts of the world and do that kind of race. A lot more applicable to kind of what I like style-wise of racing. I've kind of grown to like that kind of stage rally and be able to strategize and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Baja one, or like San Felipe will always be like one of the best. You know what I mean? San Felipe and the 1,000, stuff like that. But I don't know. The more and more I go over there and kind of immerse myself in these kind of races and try to learn a little bit more about them and how you can actually do them effectively, stuff like that, starting to realize I kind of like the rally stuff too.
It seems like when we talk to him, and you can ask him this question right here, but it seems like as we talk with Austin, like his knowledge and his will and want for more racecraft really lends itself to those stage rallies. Like he really seems like he wants to think it through and like really put a lot of effort into it.
There is I've only participated in 2 rallies. It's the Nora, the Mexican 1000. I've done it the last 2 years.
Yep.
And it's a staged event also. And dude, there's some serious brain games going on. I mean, you're watching the clock, and you're on your road book, and you're watching the clock, and it's...
How does it change your racecraft as a driver, then? Well, actually, let me ask these two questions. How does it change your racecraft as somebody that's behind the scenes? And how does it change your racecraft as a driver, Austin?
Well, it definitely changes mine as like you don't get you get more than one shot. So I mean, with Baja, you want everything to last, and you have to be able to finish. You know what I mean? So it's the same exact thing, but with rally, you know, I don't know how to describe it. It's so hard to describe. It's so different. You know what I mean? You have to keep your stuff going. You know what I mean? You can't break the car, and you have to be reliable and stuff like that. But you also have to put up a decent stage. So with Baja, you can kind of hang it a little bit more, but then it kind of changes in rally because you're like, why would I hang this out here as this much? I have 6 more days of stages. You know what I mean?
I love that, like, second, third, fourth, fifth chance. Like, that's always like, okay, I could do better next time. Because that's like, growing up doing motocross, I could do better next weekend. I could do better in a series. Like, I could do better next weekend. It kind of feels like that, right?
Yeah. No, it's, and having, I know you had, was it Spain, I believe? You had a pretty bad accident where you'd swung out to pass somebody. And
yeah, that was Silkway Rally.
Silkway Rally. Okay, yeah.
What happened?
You can explain it.
Yeah, we were. It was actually the first stage, excuse me, of a 10-day race over there in Russia. Started in Russia around Lake Baikal and ended in China. Actually, went all the way through Mongolia and ended up in the sand dunes in China. Yeah, so that was pretty sweet. But
10 days.
So that first day, so that first day we were running a good pace. At the very end of the stage, a car was like in limp mode essentially right in front of us, and we're pushing, and they weren't responding and stuff like that. So it's all good. We were just going to try to find a way around. There was a road on the left that was kind of in a little bit of high grass. And we were on that and basically maxed out the car on speed as fast as that thing will go. And someone had placed a massive tree stump, like, because there was no trees around and there was no other tree stumps. So someone put it there in the middle of the road. But there was a big tree stump, and it was covered by the grass. And we ended up hitting that, and it cleaned off the corner. And we rolled, I think, like 15 times or something fun. And then, but then we ended up, same thing, like kind of with the rally thing. We ended up that stage, my navigator at the time, Kellen Walsh, he rode on the back, like on the actual rear where the spare tires are. I drove from the passenger side because the corner was off on my driver's side. So then we just finished the last 6 kilometers or something like that with 3 wheels and on the back. But things like that, I mean, then you get to go back to the bivouac or back to the pits, and you get to rip it all apart and get back at it again. So yeah, you're definitely able to come back. And then we ended up being in second place on day 8. And we were about an hour and a half down after that first day crashing.
Dude,
so
that's what I love about it. And that brings me back to our question that we asked before. Like, what's the different racecraft or race strategy that you use in the pits or behind the scenes? Like when you have a situation like that.
Yeah, no, you've got to be prepared for anything. You got to be prepared for the driver hitting that tree stump that he didn't know was there. You know what I mean? But what the really neat part about that is day 1, he had a bad accident, and the mechanics and the crew fixed it overnight. He was back out there day 2.
That is so freaking awesome.
Here in the States or in Baja, you're done. Your race is over. That's it.
Yeah, you got to wait till the next 1,000 or whatever it is. Yeah,
pack it up and go home. Yeah, so this is what's really cool about the staging.
And you were able to make up enough time to like kind of catch back up?
Oh yeah, 100%. We were in second place, and we were kind of closing in on the guy in first. He had really good days. He's a good driver and stuff like that. But we were in second place, and yeah, we were closing in on him.
Dude, that's so sick, man. Like this type of racing, I know it's gained a lot of popularity because of the media and social media and all that stuff, and obviously Americans doing well in the Dakar and different stage rallies and stuff. But honestly, talking to Austin just gets me that much more fired up about it. Like I want to follow all this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, the European influence on it. It's worldwide. It's really cool.
Yeah, and they're over-the-road trucks with the flat front ends. Those always look cool, too. Hey, so are you going to post stuff on social media so that we can follow some of that stuff? Because I'm definitely going to follow.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be as soon as I get a whole bunch of confirmation. It's basically confirmed right now. I just need a couple more details and stuff. And yeah, I'll be posting about it on my Instagram and stuff like that, and posting stories, and going to try to do a little bit better at media this race. So kind of, you guys can check it out a little bit more, what it's like to go and do one of those. So yeah, that'll definitely be on the schedule.
Yeah, that'll be super cool. And then, so is it going to be for that South Racing Can-Am team again? Or is it going to be for somebody else?
Yeah. I assume it's for South Racing Can-Am.
Okay, cool. So that'll be pretty fun then, because he's already comfortable with all those guys, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, all those guys from Portugal, those guys are awesome. The South Racing team, they've always done really well, and they've always been really good to me in all the races. Every rally that I've ran over there, I've ran with them so far. So they're really good to me. They give me a good car. The mechanics are all good dudes. So, yeah, I'm super comfortable and happy with them.
You want to ask him our best question of the day?
Yeah. UTV or trophy truck?
Trophy truck.
I told you.
I know. So, and I was gonna say that too, and I was gonna preface it by, who doesn't want to drive a freaking trophy truck, man?
No, as he knows.
You just gotta see what it's like, because we just now got my dad actually ordered a Mason all-wheel drive from those guys, and it's got one of those Joe Gibbs motors in it with 1,300 horsepower or something unbelievable, and it is unbelievable. Just compared to the trophy trucks that from, the kind of older ones to now all-wheel drives with crazy NASCAR motors in them and stuff like that. It's something. Like, those trophy trucks are something. So it's hard to say anything is cooler than at least one run in a trophy truck.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe you can give us a little bit of an inside scoop. Just we obviously know they have bigger tires, bigger horsepower, bigger shocks, all that stuff. But what does it feel like, the difference? Like when you're sitting behind the wheel and you're driving it, because I know a lot of the weight feels different when you're a driver. The understanding what the vehicle can do, like when you hit bumps and stuff, when you turn it, it takes longer to react. Like, what's the difference between a trophy truck and a UTV?
Well, for how much smaller the parts are and things like that, and for how less heavy duty they are, the UTVs I feel like are more reliable. I feel like you can basically beat them up as hard as you possibly can, flip them over 15 times, clean off corners, and then still finish stages and stuff like that. So, that's completely different. You have to, you can, once you kind of figure that out, you can start driving them a little bit harder and things like that. The tires, that definitely makes a big difference. Rocks and things like that, you got to watch out for those a lot differently. And then just really the momentum and the power with those, because they don't have 1,000 horsepower to snap them when you put your foot down. So you really gotta, with the Can-Ams, like really have to keep momentum and just try to keep like a nice smooth pace going with your throttle essentially. So I would say that those are really the two things that change the most. But when it comes down to it, it's still driving a truck or a car in the dirt, so it's same principles.
Well, I was going to follow it up with this question, is because, first of all, I like how he gives us a descriptive answer for that. And almost all of our audience either has a UTV or has driven a UTV. But one of the things that we were talking about before the show, Joe, was Extreme E, is like this new series that came out. Sarah Price, one of our good friends, is going to be driving these electric vehicles and stage rally stuff. And even like Matthias Ekstrom just got a ride in a Extreme E. Lewis Hamilton just invested in his own team for Extreme E. Like that kind of stuff is super cool, because I feel like that's in between trophy truck and UTV, but it's still got like massive amounts of torque. Torque for days, right? So would you be interested in doing something like that, Austin?
Yeah, 100%. I'm always, I'm open to anything with the steering wheel and 4 tires, I'm down for it. But yeah, I've seen a lot about that Extreme E thing. I know the guy that started it. I believe it's the same person that started the Formula E. So, obviously a smart dude, has good ideas and things like that. So yeah, I think it's awesome. I saw Sarah signed to drive one of those cars, and that car looks badass. So
yeah those things look super cool.
And
Kyle LeDuc's going to be her male driver on that same team for Chip Ganassi.
And just the future of things is headed electric, to where if you can get your shoe in the door right now, that's probably better, because eventually we're all going to be forced to be electric sometime or another.
When I was actually at Dakar this year, Ken Block was down there testing one of those Formula E, or not Formula E, the the E Series cars, and he ran like a part of one of the last stages that we did, and yeah, it worked pretty well out there. I saw it, so
dude,
cool.
I wonder how fast those things are and how long they last, because it's got to be just a car with a battery, right? Like just a massive battery in it.
Yep.
Dude, I kind of feel like that's going to be like I can't wait till this Extreme E pops off, dude.
Yeah,
Where do you know, Austin? Do you know where they're going to have this thing at? Like where they're going to have like the races and stuff? Maybe any in the United States?
So I saw a little bit of stuff that like Sarah's posted and stuff. I think that they're going to do. I read like Nepal. And like I think that the dude that wants to do it has something to do with like he wants to get all like the elements like ocean and like water and like fire and like earth and snow, and I think that was kind of the idea. So it's like I think one is somewhere in like South Africa where they're doing it like right on the water, it looks like, and then something in Nepal, and then a couple other ones, but some rad places like 6 completely different, like Greenland and completely different locations.
Dude, that's going to be cool for the drivers, right? Because then you're going to have like a totally different driving style.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be rad. I bet you it'll be like even out the playing field. Like you don't really have a home track advantage, so to speak.
True. Very true.
Yeah, exactly.
Has your dad seen some of that stuff too?
Yeah, I mean, he was out there when we were in Saudi and stuff like that. He was checking out the one that Ken was driving and stuff like that. And it looks sweet. Dude. I've been trying to race one of these rallies with me, but still working on it.
Is he not into it?
No, he's definitely into it. He likes to be there if I give him a call. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to be.
Just being a
generally,
dad.
if I'm getting out of the car during the race, first like 5 minutes or so, depending on what it is, I'm probably making a call to Jones. So I think that he would rather be able to do something about it in those situations than be driving a race car. But I would rather him drive a race car. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be super cool, man. So what do you usually do for fun then? Because like Joe and I like getting out on 2 wheels, like getting out on 4 wheels, going out on trails and all that stuff. You live in Phoenix, so do you get to do any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, not as much really. I mean, with all the COVID and stuff like that, I've really just been trying to like kick it, kind of get my stuff all dialed around here as much as I really can. Trying to move into a new house pretty soon, so trying to get all that dialed. But yeah, I mean, I go ride Harleys and dirt bikes every once in a while, and we have razors and stuff like that. So I'll take out to Geyser Loop and things like that. So yeah.
Right on. Yeah. I've never actually been out to Geyser Loop. I'm going on Thursday, so that'll be my first time out there. Just go do a little shock tuning and get out there. So I was going to ask, but you already answered this, if you were going to go to the UTV Worlds, but we're going to go to the UTV Worlds and have a bunch of fun up there. So you'll be over in your rally, but it'll still be cool to be paying attention to you from the sidelines and looking on social media.
Yeah, 100%, because I know that I'll be checking who's winning the UTV World Championship. So, yeah, 100%, that'll be cool.
Dude, I feel like it's a stacked field. Like, they're doing a lot of promo this year, and with all this COVID bullshit going on, like, I feel like the UTV Worlds is going to be a kickoff to a huge party.
Yeah. Austin, any plans of racing here in the States the rest of the year?
Not really as of right now. I think we're going to really pay our attention and as much as possible and trying to go over there and do rallies and really in preparation for Dakar 2021.
There you go. Anything for the Baja 1000 this year?
Not 100% sure yet. We're kind of teetering on it with COVID and everything like that. It makes it so hard to plan everything or plan anything. I would like to go down to
Does the COVID have any implications for the Spain trip?
Yeah, so it does. So from the government of Spain that said that like I'm an athlete and I'm going to run an event over there and stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of a deal to get that. We're all dialed.
You don't have to do any quarantine or anything while you're in Spain?
I don't think so. As of right now, I don't think so. I got my documents today, so I haven't really fully checked them out.
Yeah.
So I don't think so, but maybe when I get back, I might have to quarantine for a little bit. And I know that I'm going to have to get tested a couple times, and I haven't been tested yet because I haven't felt bad yet. And I see it stick on my brain like that. So
I got tested with that.
Did you?
Yeah, they had to stick it in my brain. It feels like they're tickling the back of your eye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's heavy.
It does. It feels super weird. Like all of a sudden you feel like your tongue is all weird. Like you got that like old man scratchy throat. You're like, oh, dude, what did they do back there? Well, that's cool, man. It sounds like you got a lot of plans. Like 2020 has been a year for the books, right? But like almost all of the guests that we have, even if they're not racing, they're looking forward to racing, or they're planning something else, or they're like thinking about what they're going to do for their sponsors. And like all this stuff is super cool for me, man. Like I love seeing like, dude, it's just, we got go-getters everywhere, man.
Yeah, I know. Austin, you had a fairly busy year planned for 2020, but obviously that all got canceled.
2020 was going to be probably the busiest year I had. We were going to do the Rally World Championship. So yeah, already in 2020, I had ran Dakar and Qatar. So I'd already ran in January and February. So I was geared up to just about once every month go out overseas or something like that. But now that everything's like this, it's been real different. But it's also given me a lot of time to train and a lot of time to like test and get things super dialed and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? Take care of some stuff that I've always wanted to take care of, that, you know, underlying stuff. So I think that it's been pretty good.
His basket weaving career skyrocketed, bro.
Now, do you have a Can-Am vehicle over here similar to what you race in overseas?
Yes, so I do. We have basically a copy of the car.
So you're allowed to train in that a little bit and kind of feel better.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's what we'll go out to. We'll go out to Nevada and we'll go and do those road books and things like that.
That's right.
And yeah.
Do you guys have a lot of like people that go with you on those trips and stuff like that do the same thing, or do you just have a support crew?
Usually not really that much. It's usually just like me and my dad and like whoever, my navigator, and we'll put the truck on the trailer and we'll just kind of go drive around. And then we trained with this guy named Jimmy Lewis and this other guy named Scott Whitney out of Nevada, and they make road books and do specific actual like Dakar style road book training. And I know that Ricky Brabeck uses him quite a bit, so we're out there with him quite a bit. And Casey Curry, he also is out there with us training quite a bit. So yeah, there's the only other guys that are out there are other guys that are basically going to Dakar.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's cool that you get to hang out with somebody cool. Casey's good people. So
100%. Both just won this year, so yeah, it's definitely cool to train with the guys and see all the work that we do and stuff like that work out for someone.
Yeah, for sure. I've never been able to shake Ricky's hand, but I did a lot of work with Casey, and he was actually, along with Joe, he was one of the guys that got me into short course racing because he's like, yeah, if you want to, drive one of these pro lights, come out and drive mine. So I got to go test in his pro light, and I was like, sweet. And then he's like, yeah, so how big is your pocketbook to be able to race one of these things? And I'm like, oh, shit, I think I'm going to have to, like, wait a little bit. And then luckily, a couple years later, UTVs came, like, to fruition. So I was like, all right, I'm going the cheap route.
Yeah, no, the UTVs are dialed. I love driving the UTVs, like, because up until that Spanish race, I had never raced a UTV. I'd actually never driven a Can-Am until I strapped in for the first day of that Spanish rally. So that was different. But I love driving those. I think that it's such a good way to get into everything that we get into, and they're definitely the most capable vehicles to get through like the dunes and all that kind of stuff that we race through over there that we don't race through over here. The UTVs really, they're something.
It's super cool to see that. Like we were just talking about like how the progression of UTVs, aftermarket parts, the UTVs themselves, like getting bigger and stuff. And I mean, he's kind of just saying the same thing that we were talking about. I mean, you don't have to have the baddest Can-Am. You can go out there with a normally aspirated Razor and still go full tilt. But I mean, if you want to go like Dakar style, you can have like a bitchin' Can-Am and still go do it, man. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that stuff. So what's if you had to pick like one of your favorite races to go to just for like, let's just say 2021's an all new year, what are you going to be looking forward to the most?
2021, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to getting back down to Baja. Hopefully everything will be good. So all of those races, San Felipe 250, Baja 500, 1,000, those are always the best. And really, I was really excited to go back over to Morocco this year. They run a really good race out of there, and the terrain is very similar to Arizona and Nevada over there in Morocco. So, yeah, it's real rocky over there. But I like that a lot. So, and I've kind of the last 2 years ago, I ran in 2018. I was leading, and then I ended up crashing out on the last day. And then in 2019 here, we were down for like 45 minutes with a rear gear failure, but we got it back up. And then we actually were in it quite a bit, almost podiumed, ended up finishing 4th. But I was really excited to get back over there and try to really run that one again, maybe, do better this time.
Plus, dude, like all the stuff where he's saying he's traveling and stuff, that just interests me just because it's in a different place, right? Like,
yeah, no, different cultures and different foods and different everything. It's cool.
Isn't Morocco where they filmed Transformers? Hey, did you see Optimus Prime when you were out there?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure though.
All right, so we're gonna do a rapid fire Q&A. Joe, you want to do this with me, and we'll get some questions for Austin here.
Let's do it.
All right, so turn it over to the other side real quick. So I'll go with the first question. I think I already know what the answer to this one is, but iRacing or real racing?
Real racing.
Yeah, we have still yet had, I think one kid maybe answered iRacing one time, but that's it.
It's funny though. I'm using this now. Me and my dad, we fabbed this up. We built one of these simulators.
Oh, sick. Are you going to use it?
Yeah, but what's up? Yeah, I've been using it. I've got it all dialed right here. I just moved it so I could do this. But yeah, no, we actually fabbed this up and built it the other day because I was like, well, if everyone's going to do it, I might as well build one.
Have you tried one yet, Joe?
Yes. I've been. I've had actually, I was at his father's house, Jesse's, doing some work, and he has a simulator deal. And dude, it's.
So what did you try?
Wow.
Did you do the Lucas Oil?
It was a short course.
Wild Horse, whatever.
I think it was. Yeah, it was a short course deal. I think it was up north in Reno though.
Oh, okay.
That track, but it was fun. It was really cool.
Dude, I did it in I think Wild Horse Pro 4 or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy because it's like, dude, it was so hard. I crashed like 6 times in the first corner.
Yeah,
it's addicting as shit.
And
you'll be there all night.
My dad has a gnarly so hard.
He has what?
He has like a really gnarly one, like not one that we just built in the shop. Like he's got like a real super gnarly one that Joe's driving, and yeah, it's hard. Like it is hard.
It's super cool though. I think it's cool because like what Austin's saying, like you could, well, in quotes, train for it. Like you could train on it because it does teach you a little bit of skills, right? Like, oh, that's actually one question before we keep going down this rapid fire that I was going to ask you. So, with all the racing and stuff, clearly you have good racecraft and you're a fast driver and stuff like that. But what's some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that you've done that you've learned? Because clearly you know what stuff is. You're talking about a transmission bell housing and different parts on suspension and stuff. Like, are you pretty in-depth with all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like Joe's area?
Yeah, so I mean, I've worked. So actually, it's funny. Joe has taught me basically, quite a bit of 75% of what I know from him always being our mechanic and stuff like that, and him coming up to Phoenix and helping me because I would try to prep the preeners and I had no idea what I was doing, and Joe would come up and really show me and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say like a lot of that comes from just being in the shop. My dad making me try to work on things, fix things for myself, and Joe really teaching me a lot. I'm not, like 100%. I can strip a truck, put it back together, but we can do a couple things. We're close.
That's cool. Joe and I talk about it all the time, man. When you get to learn from experts or your father, whoever it is, like holding the flashlight from our dads, right? Like it teaches us so much in life. Like it's literally the dirt life, but it's a different life, right? Like really you're a hard worker, you like put in effort, you don't go home at 5, you go to home and the job's done, like all that stuff. It's super cool, and to have the same personality as Austin does, to be able to want to learn that stuff is fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, that's
we got a couple.
And all that kind of helps is like when you're like this year we lost 2 axles at the same, or 3 axles at the same time in the dunes in Saudi Arabia, like at the very, very end of the stage, and we were out there for like a couple hours changing them and fixing everything and getting it back out. But like, that makes me think of like those situations, like working with my dad and stuff like that. It's like, dude, if I wouldn't have done all that, then like, what are you going to do? You're going to like, just like bitch about it, or are you going to like fix the shit and let's go home? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, call AAA on the side of a dune.
That's out in Saudi when it's midnight. Yeah, probably not. So yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, you just, you hunker down and do it.
So we got a couple comments that came in. Colleen Price says, hell yeah, AJ. And then Brian Hawkins says, man, could you imagine if trophy trucks had the backing and support like NASCAR or F1 does? It would be pretty gnarly. It really would. But the main reason I think that doesn't happen is because you can't televise the whole thing. Like there's no way for everybody to watch it. Like you just had to see your buddy going by for 10 seconds is usually the main complaint of every desert racer, right? The wife always says, I saw my husband for 10 seconds. Like that's the highlight of the race, right? So, yeah. Oh, he also commented on the COVID test. It tickles, kind of burns. I damn near sneezed when I got tested.
Oh,
dude, you're in for it now.
no, I'm gonna get it over in Spain too. So where I don't speak any Spanish and don't speak any English, it's gonna be rough. Perfect.
All right, Joe. What's the next question on the rapid fire Q&A?
You could hang out if you could hang out with one person for a day, who would it be?
Oh, dude, and this could be anybody. This could be a famous actor. This could be like your dad. It could be anybody, man.
Oh man, I don't know.
Dude, that's why it's rapid fire though. You got to think quick, son.
That's so heavy.
It's pretty heavy, but
maybe Teddy Roosevelt.
That's a good one. President. Okay, so we've asked this question I think only twice on the show, and both of them have been presidents. The other one was shoot, I already forgot his name. Abraham Lincoln. That's how you picked Teddy Roosevelt.
That's funny.
Dude, that's rad.
That is funny.
All right, next question. Barsha or Webb?
Barsha.
Dude, told you. Told you, man. Barsha all day.
Dude, he probably this pass at what was it?
Redbud. That was Redbud when he pushed Muskin off the track.
When it came from the one and he hit to the other, it was. Oh yeah.
Yeah, when he pushed Muskin off the track. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, right before the Laracos leave. Did you see it, Joe?
No, I didn't.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, dude, but it was sick.
For no reason. Like he didn't have to do that.
At all. He totally could have stopped for the inside line, but he didn't.
Didn't have to do it.
All right, what's the next one?
Favorite food?
Probably carne asada tacos.
Yeah.
Sweet. There
Arizona.
Yep. Arizona boy. Little Smokies or pizza rolls?
Pizza rolls.
All right, Joe.
Combination.
Favorite soda?
Dr. Pepper.
Dude, I knew it. I could tell he was a Dr. Pepper guy. We're going to go ahead and let Joe answer this question as well. What's your favorite soda, Joe?
Definitely Coke.
Yep.
For sure. I'm a Coke fiend.
Yeah.
So, funny story is, like, when we used to race Supercross, Joe would, one time I rode to Seattle with him and his rider, Eric Anderson, and the whole ride, like, they didn't want me to drive because I was this young kid sitting in the back. Like, so I was like sleeping, hanging out, and I get up and we're like in San Jose or something, driving up to Seattle. Bikes are in the back. Joe's just motoring down the road, and all of a sudden I get up and I just see like a sunflower seeds everywhere, and then just like cans of Coke, dude. Like he had a party on Coke, dude. So much, it was awesome.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that's funny.
All right, Uggs or Crocs?
Uggs.
You going Uggs? So we asked this question because it's a profiling question. If people know that you can put your Uggs in four-wheel drive, or I mean your Crocs in four-wheel drive. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Dude, hardly anybody knows about this trick. So when you have the flap, you just put it up on the back. They're in four-wheel drive.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll never rock. I'll have to check it out though.
You don't have to check it out, bro. It's all right.
Most memorable race?
The San Felipe 250 2019 when my dad rode with me and we won.
Dude, that is a memorable race.
That
right
is
there.
bitchin'. I forgot about that. That's a good time there.
That's pretty cool.
How was it after that race? Good?
Oh, yeah. No, it was good. It was really good. It was a long day, but it was fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they just freaking motored the whole day and just played it smart. It was cool.
I didn't know that your dad was sitting next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. So he rode with me for a couple of races last year. He rode with me in San Felipe. We won. We're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. We did the 500. Had a not that good of a day together as father and son, and yeah, that kind of ended it there. But yeah, he rides every once in a while. I like it when he rides with me. I think it's fun. I like riding with him.
Yeah, that's cool. Bonding, dad and son bonding. Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate.
Oh, you're going chocolate.
I dig the chocolate.
You're going chocolate too?
Oh, yeah. Ski or snowboard?
Snowboard for sure.
For sure, bro.
Need to get back.
Yeah, the Arizona, dude. We're not getting too much snow here lately. Dogs or cats?
What's up?
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
You're going cats?
That's right. You have a cat or two, don't you? Yeah.
I've got 3.
3.
Dang, dude, he's stacking them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we got, it's crawling all over the place here.
Netflix or YouTube?
Probably Netflix.
You're going Netflix? What about the videos that you release on YouTube, though? Those are special, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I like those ones.
Oh,
the ones
okay.
with me and them.
This one, I think we already got the answer. Burrito or taco?
Oh, taco.
Supercross or motocross?
Supercross.
What would you pick, Joe?
I think I'd go with the outdoor. I really like the motocross stuff.
Yeah, I do too, because it's just so gnarly,
it's
man.
It's fucking gnarly.
So
gnarly.
When we were all doing it together, like, did you still like motocross better? Or like, when you were, how about when you were Eric's mechanic? Like, Supercross is, you get bikes clean, like.
I think I liked.
Actually, you guys had a gnarly mud race, though.
Yeah, we had a couple of. I think when we were doing that, I enjoyed the Supercross because it was quicker and easier. You know what I mean? The outdoor stuff was, that's 30 minutes plus a lap. You know what I mean? And the riders just
the fuck out of the bike too.
Yeah, but being outdoors, I just Arizona guys, dude. We love outdoors.
I'll pick motocross every day. I mean, I like racing Supercross, but like if Casey Peck was sitting here, he's picked Supercross all day too.
Yeah.
So, all right, what other form of racing would you like to try? And before you answer this, it could be boat racing, it could be monster trucks, it could be Red Bull air races, like anything.
I don't know. The Red Bull air races are pretty sick. I've never really had too much experience piloting planes, but that would be pretty sick, I think.
Yeah, if you could have like a realistic answer to that question, what would it be? Like something that you could realistically do, like if you could go race a motocross national, if you could go race a NASCAR, like what would you pick?
Oh, I would probably race like the ATF flat track.
What's that?
I think that's so like flat track racing.
Oh, like on
like the Harley is the fucking dirt track, just
Indians and all that stuff,
throwing it fucking sideways.
Okay,
yeah.
So I had a question about this. They have like the guys that just turn their motocross bike and they put the flat track wheels and stuff on them. Do those race against the Indians too? Like, are they in the same class?
I don't think so, because I think the big bad Ascot bikes are like 1,000cc fucking gnarly bikes, aren't they?
Gnarly with those big motors in them and stuff. But then I know KTM has a flat track team, and they do that as well. I don't know. I think they might be in the same class. It's just like they run plastics that look different, basically. You know what I mean? I'm not 100% sure.
Dude, it does look gnarly. Like, people think like when NASCAR's just turning left, but it's hard to race it, right? Like they think, oh, sliding of going around a circle on a flat. Dude, it's gnarly.
Yeah.
It's
and they go so fast down the straightaways that like they take their other hand off and they duck down, so they get like going like 110 down the straights. It's so gnarly, and then pitch it in. Yeah, the flat track is rad.
All right, last question of the night, Joe. The most important question.
Chips and guacamole or fries and ketchup?
Chips and guac for sure.
Whoa, we got a best friend here. We're good. Nice, dude. All the right answers. Dr. Pepper and chips and guacamole. You can't get much better than that, right? Well, dude, we really appreciate you tuning in with us and hanging out. Like, it was awesome to have you on the show, man. I really appreciate Joe coming into the studio and being able to talk all this race stuff, man. It was super cool.
Yeah, no, I had a really good time. Thank you guys for having me, and yeah, I'll come back whenever, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. We'll have you call in after you go to the races and stuff. Like you said, 2020 has been a little bit of a hectic thing to try to overcome. Right. But once you get a little bit more of these races under your belt, we would really like to hear how you're doing. But before we hear how you're doing, good luck. Go kick some ass out there, bud.
Cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Austin. We really appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
All right, cool. See you guys. Thank you.
See ya.
Later. Man, so that was super cool to have Austin. And again, thank you very much for lining that up, Joe. I really appreciate it.
No thing, man. That's good times.
It's super cool to see his enthusiasm too, right? Even in a shitty year like 2020.
Yeah, no, he's driven. Same thing with his father, man. They just 110%.
So what about behind the scenes then? How is it working with those guys?
Good, it's going good. It gets hectic. You know what I mean? But it's.
Well, it's probably a good hectic, though, right? Because they're so driven. They're like, you got to be driven too, right?
Yeah.
Like a swift kick in the ass to make sure everything goes good.
Exactly. Yeah, and Jesse, his father, is business all the time. You know what I mean? And it's no goofing. He loves to have a good time, and everything's cool, but there's a schedule of events, and there's a
you got to meet that, and then you can have a good time.
A protocol, and we got to do exactly.
That's how any good team operates, though, man.
Yeah, and he almost treats the racing like a business. You know what I mean? And it's really cool.
Well, you can see that's probably where Austin gets a lot of his. I kept calling it Racecraft, but he's just a smart dude. Yeah. Like, you can tell he's a smart kid, right? He knows what he wants. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's going to put in the effort. He's a sponge. He just, like, listens to everything you say.
Yeah.
I'm sure he listens to everything his dad and the crew says. Like, that's pretty badass. You can be a very successful racer and have a lot of longevity if you have an open attitude like that.
Yeah, and like he said, I would spend a week or so up in Phoenix working on the pre-runners with him and his father, and it was fun. I really enjoyed, working with him on it, and I'd let him. It was kind of funny, but it was the way I was taught. So that's, of course, the only way I know. But I would let him fight with something for a little while until he was really frustrated, and then I'd go over and help him.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because if you just do it for him, then there's no learning.
Yeah, one of the best ways.
Make him figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he's gained a lot. And like I say, he's been stuck out in the desert out there in Baja for a couple hours on his own.
Yeah.
And here he comes, wandering back in. He figured it out, and which is cool.
Dude,
awesome.
That's super cool, man. You got to really appreciate that, adversity and being able to figure stuff out, no matter who it is. And that's the exact reason we started the show. Like, we want to see what these guys are actually like. And, you walk by Austin at a race, see him at Tech and Contingency, and he's a badass race car driver, right? But who is he really behind the scenes? And we've really figured out a lot about him, dude. So, again, thank you very much for lining that up and coming in and talking to him and us about all these good memories that you guys have shared. So it's super cool.
Yeah, no, it's fun, and in this dirt, in this dirt life, you got to have some knowledge on what's going on.
Yep.
And you've broken your motorcycle out there in the desert when we were young, and we somehow fixed it, got it home, or figured something out.
100 ways to get back home, right?
Exactly. So it's good times.
It really is. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're going to thank all of our sponsors. We're going to thank Shock Therapy. Like I said, man, those guys are doing such an awesome job for the show, and they've just been a fantastic company to deal with. So thank you, Justin, and the whole crew over there. We really appreciate those guys. We're going to go testing with them on Thursday, so pay attention to our social media because we're going to be releasing another video tomorrow of part 2 of this RS1 build, entry-level race car build, and you guys can follow along because that's a really cool series to follow. We're going to have, I think, 3 or 4 more videos before the UTV World Championship, so it'll be neat. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of family reunion stuff at the UTV World Championship. We'll do a video up there and shake everybody's hand and have a good time with everybody. So thank you to Rugged Radios. You can use the code DIRTLIFE and save a whole bunch of money at ruggedradios.com. Thank you, Ryan and Ryan, both the KMC Wheels and EFX Tires. Those guys are awesome. Thank you, Travis Zollinger and Riley over at Zollinger Racing Products. You can use the code DIRTLIFE over there at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Save a whole bunch of money. Use the code DIRTLIFE at solderweld.com. Go get your off-road repair kit. Because like I said, we're going to be having one of those off-road repair kits in our vehicle at the UTV World Championship. And I think we should actually get one of those over to Austin and his dad so he can have one too.
For sure. And like I say, it'd be good to have in their side-by-sides with them. You know what I mean? And that way they can fix stuff. Or even in the trophy trucks, you know what I mean? And
just bond metal wherever you need to.
Correct. You get a hole in the radiator or something like that.
Dude.
Patch it up, keep going.
Yeah. You're a good spokesperson for Solderweld. Maybe they should be paying you.
There you go.
So, so thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Like I say every show, you guys are our lifeblood. We can't do this without you. You guys have been stepping up, growing our social media. You guys have been growing all of our videos and doing such a good job. We really appreciate all the support. So anytime you guys have questions, anytime you want to chime in, feel free to reach out. We'll try to answer your question. And if I don't know the answer, I know a guy sitting next to my left that will probably know an answer if it's a technical question. So we'll get your question answered no matter how we can. So thank you very much, like I said, Joe, for coming in and hanging out, dude. It was
Thanks
awesome.
for having me.
We're going to have you back again, too. So we really appreciate it. Next week, we have the last Crandon Pro 4 World Cup winner, RJ Anderson, coming on the show. So we're going to go hang out with him and a whole bunch of people at Wild Horse Pass next week. It's going to be, I think, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday race because they got to fit them all in with this COVID deal going on. So we're going to say hi to RJ and have a good time with all those guys out there. But we'll get him on the show. We'll talk about his XP1K videos, how crazy those things are. We're going to talk about what it feels like to win the Crandon World Cup and go 100 and God knows how many miles an hour into that Crandon.
2 years in a row.
Dude,
he won it last year. Yeah, that's impressive.
Did they say how fast they were going in that first turn at Crandon?
They are running in there around 110, I believe, 115.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Yeah, it's insane.
Fully sideways, huh?
Jesse Jones and I had went probably 4, maybe 5 years ago.
Ooh, man.
And it's a green flag, 20 trucks, just unbelievable.
That is so sick, man. I guess there's probably nothing like it, right?
No, not at all. Not that I've experienced. And it's just, man, it just makes the hair stand on your arms. It's so cool.
Dude, just thinking about it. So we'll have to ask RJ Anderson about that and see what he has. We really appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks, John, for keep commenting in and asking all these questions. We really appreciate it. And thank you for giving us the compliments of saying we've been doing a good job. We're really trying hard over here, man, to give you guys good content. So if we're not, then kick us in the ass and tell us what we need to give you guys. So we really appreciate it. So we look forward to talking with RJ Anderson next week. And thank you guys for living your dirt lives with us. We love you. Good night.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.